So Daquan, when you think hustle culture, what do you think?
Yeah, so there's a couple things that come to mind when we talk about hustle culture. I think hustle culture is not new. I don't think it's a new phenomenon by any measure, by any means. I think it was normalized like during the industrial, kind of era, the kind of time where they were bringing in foreign people to kind of just use and abuse them in factories and didn't have to pay them any benefits, and it kind of normalized this predatory capitalism where we took people, put them in a
That
place,
part.
and took advantage of them and paid them whatever we felt like paying them, because at the end of the day it was like we either get paid this or we get paid nothing. So it kind of put corporations in a position where they could do that. So where when I think hustle culture, I think it is us embracing that predatory behavior of corporations, the predatory nature of capitalism. I think it is us embracing that and accepting it, and not only accepting it, but kind of shaming other people for not embracing being taken advantage of. So it's
Mm.
like, so when I hear people, I see it all the time. You brag on social media. I just worked 90 hours this week. Get your money up. My nigga,
Yes,
no.
I see that all the
No.
time.
Matter of fact, no. If listen, if it meant that I would stay a little right here close to impoverished, but I was able to visit my family, I was able to feed myself, take care of my people, just be able to get by, I would much rather do that and only work 35, 40 hours a week than work twice as much and never get to see my family, never get to have no free time, never get to sleep, never get to eat. Oh, I'm sleeping at work. I would much rather that and actually have a life. You know what I mean? And people do it, right? They have this hustle culture expectation because hustle culture is built on a lie that tells you if you work hard enough, it'll pay off in the end. And you'll get to retire and you'll have all these benefits and you'll have millions of dollars.
After you
Yes.
slaved your whole life.
So it's the
That a lie?
lie. Yes. Yes, it's the same kind of lie that
It
Hollywood will
does.
tell you, right? It's the same kind of lie that Hollywood will tell you, right? Because they'll tell you about the success story that was sleeping in their car and going to all them auditions, and they was busting their tail and they was waitressing tables and they didn't have a place to stay, but they was going and they was going. Then they finally got their big break, but they don't tell you about the other 100 people that went to that audition that didn't get the job and had to go home
But it
and had to move back and is still living in a car and never made it. So it's built on a lie. It's built on a lie that tells you you might, but you probably won't.
but
you
is it
know.
a lie though?
Yes. I believe that if it's not a truth, because you can't, to me it's like cherry picking. You can be like, "Oh yeah, one person made it," which means if somebody says you can make it because that person made it, I feel like you're lying because you're misleading me. You're intentionally misleading me so you can take advantage of me so I can keep working for you on the premise that if I work hard enough, I'll get enough promotions and then eventually I'll be the CEO one day. No, I won't. No, I won't. You know what I mean?
But that's
Well,
not.
well,
But why? I guess, and to hate to keep pulling on this, but you say it's a lie, but it's something that's actually happened though. Like
I say
I
it's a
I
lie
think
because it's misleading. I don't when I say it's a lie, I only say it because it is it's not necessarily a full just straight blatant lie, but it is, and it's misleading, and I
you
believe
think
it
it's
is
like
intentionally misleading.
unrealistic.
Not
do you
necessarily
guys hear me?
unrealistic because I
Angel,
think that I can hear you, ma. Yeah.
Gary,
Um
Tati.
I think that it's
Can you
just
guys
a
hear
thing
me?
to where it's like people can take advantage of
You say
people,
yes if you can hear
and
me.
and you do
I
it
want to make sure
under
that I'm
this
here.
hope, right? People have, because people
Yeah,
naturally have hope, like if I do
yeah,
work hard I can achieve my dreams, and I don't feel like that's not a lie, but I do feel like there is a line where you feel like there is no line of how much work you can put in. You just feel like the more work the better, and that's not true. And so that's why I feel
yes,
like it's a lie, because I
yeah.
feel like it's teaching you and telling you work more, work harder, work faster, do better, do more work. And when you're not working, you better be working. And when you're sleeping, you better be thinking about working. And when you're not working and when you're not sleeping, you better be eating while you're working. And so it's like, you can't
And you
ever.
and you do that to consume.
Yeah. And the crazy part
Yeah.
about it is we talked about this. We're all people who suffer from anxiety when we're not working. So
I
who
am.
are, you know
Yeah.
what I mean?
With
Like,
that.
who are we to talk about the idea of if we work hard enough? No, we're suffering from being internally too strict on ourselves, and we can't let ourselves rest and find peace because we're too busy. Like, man, I ain't do enough taxes this morning. I better do my taxes. Then I need to do my son's taxes. I need to do my taxes again. I need to do my taxes for next year and do them, and then I have to be ready for the year after that. Like, we don't really give our mom's doing better with this because we talk about it a lot, but it's ingrained in
No,
us.
I'm not.
Like, you are
Yeah.
doing better. You are doing better. We've
No,
talked about
I'm
it. You're
not.
doing better. And if you're not doing better, you better start telling yourself you're doing better, because that's part of the reason why we're not doing better. It's because
Exactly.
you're not being you're not
You
giving
gotta
yourself the
believe
pot.
it.
Yeah, you gotta believe it first. You ain't gonna do it if you don't believe
No,
it.
no. My hustle culture, I'm so bad. Like, seriously, I need hustle rehab. Like, I got issues. Like, like,
Hustle
literally,
culture is
I
basically like
find
doing anything
myself
necessary to
being
yeah,
in a
to make
bad
money. That's
mood,
very
being
true,
tired,
Nessa.
feeling like there's not
American culture
enough
studying
time
is
in a
so
day.
important. 6
Like, I
a.m.
don't have
sometimes
enough time
11:30
in
p.m.
my
We're still studying. We also
lifetime
have study groups after.
because I
Yeah, I
always
know,
feel like
Jisoo.
I
Like
need to
hustle culture is
hustle.
really
Like,
big.
my hustle is
In
bad.
foreign countries
But
like
you have to
India,
think about it. I've
Japan,
been
Korea.
hustling since I was 16. That's all I know. I'm bred to hustle. So, and it's worse for me. I literally said that I'm spoiled because Candace, and I wanted to talk to you about this too. I don't know how to, I don't know. The businesses that we own and we operate, I've been doing stuff like that since 17. And so I don't know how to not hustle, because if I don't hustle, I don't eat. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have a 9 to 5, so I have no choice but to hustle constantly. And that's why I say owning businesses is not for everybody. And I want to have a whole show on that. Like, because people praise people who are entrepreneurs, which I do believe in entrepreneurship, because I believe that you can actually break through 6 figures easier. You know what I mean? It's an easier hustle, but it's a harder hustle too. You know what I mean? Like, owning your own business, you're everything. You're the marketing department, which I just told y'all I freaking hate marketing. It's the taxes. It's the, I mean, it's everything. It's the billing. We are everything. There's no break. I go to bed with tablets of paper. I'm always hustling. Now, am I always hustling to try to get things? No, my hustle is different because my hustles are dreams, right? So I think it's a little different because the hustles that I want to do are hustles that I have passion in and that I love. And I think that that's what makes it a little bit different for me when it comes to my hustle. Because even the car dealership, I love driving cars. I like working on cars. I like looking at cars. I like cars. The houses, I loved houses. And before that, it was, doing parties. I love doing parties. You know what I mean? So we bred dogs. I love dogs. So everything that we've done, every hustle that we've had, um, has been something that I love to do. But I need to go to some type of therapy because I got hustleitis. Like,
So why does you said that makes your hustle different because it's dreams? Why?
because it's what?
You said your hustle is different for you because it's something that you're passionate about and you hustle dreams. Why is that different?
I think when you hustle, okay, so I know a lot of people who talk about hustling and they hustle for money. And I hustle for money too. But a lot of times when I hustle, like literally, I'm about to make a post about feminine energy, which Candace, you know about feminine energy. Feminine energy is a program that I
You keep that
created,
away from
and
me.
Candace and I are going to do, which we take women and we pull out the feminine inner she that is inside of you. So through dance, through movement, through photo captures, and I'm going to do a Valentine's Day special. So where I'm going to do, pictures for women, pull out that sexy, that sensual in you, because we forget it because of our hustles. So we forget how to be beautiful because we hustle. So we're like, yeah. So we're going to pull that back out of you to remember sexy, to remember sensual. And so that's these things that I'm doing that I'm passionate about. I feel like it's different because I know a lot of people who just do things. Does that make sense? They just do
But that
anything. to make
Yes.
money. And I'm
So
hoping that what I love makes me money. Does that make sense? I can't hustle if I don't like it. I will turn somebody could come to me right now and say, I got $1 million opportunity, you know what I mean, to do um cybersecurity. And I won't do it because I have no interest in it and I have no knowledge of it. I don't care that it makes $1 million. I'm like Daquan. I would rather make I would rather go work at McDonald's and be nice to people than to do something that I absolutely don't like and don't want to do. So I'm a different type of hustler. I'm a different type of grind. I'm hoping that what I love makes me money and I don't do what I don't like all of these things. Hey, I'm going to show you how to make six figures. You want to know how to make six figures? Click right now and I'm going to show you. I don't click because
but do you
I
think
don't
the
do
outcome is the same? Like, okay, because I know you're
no
hustling for dreams, but other people may be hustling for money. But
right.
you just said that you're like, well, maybe you didn't say verbatim, but as far as like the stress, the anxiety, the exhaustion, the pressure, like that still exists whether you're hustling
Yes.
for your dreams or not, right?
Um I think that the anxiety is still there because at the end of the day, I do have to make
I'm gonna get
coins.
spoiled by both
You know what I
parents and
mean?
my
But
grandfather, and I'm
but my
thankful for them.
end
But I do
result
understand I also have to make
a
an
lot
effort
of
to do my
times
best in school
is
so I
the
can also become
financial
successful
part
like
is
them.
okay, but the
Exactly,
fulfillment
Jisoo.
to
That's a
me
big
is
important part about it, right? It's
more.
like
Like
they're
when
not
we
Yeah.
sell
spoiling
cars,
you
a lot of times our customers
so
being
you can
happy,
just
you know what I
be
mean, and
living
getting a
and
car for their
good.
kid
Like
and they
no,
didn't
they're
have to pay
they're they're
$1 million for that
they're
car.
basically
You know what I
setting
mean?
you
And they're
up to
happy to
have a
leave. I give them a
successful
big
life
hug.
because they're like,
That
hey,
means more
while you're
than
doing good in school
damn, we
or
just
doing
made
good
so
at
and so
work
off
and
that
working
sale
on
of
your
that
promotion,
car. You know what I
we're
mean?
going to
Mine is
give you
more,
the
and I
things that
think
you might
maybe
want
women are
or
more.
need to help you out
Nah, I don't want to say that because
so
women be
you
like, "Hey,
can, you
I'ma
know,
sell this. Hey,
go
I'ma
to go
I'ma do
to your
whatever I gotta
future
do to make these
and
coins."
have a better and
So
brighter
I
future
guess that
and
the
be
hustle
successful like
gives you
us
the
so you
same
can do the same
anxiety,
thing for
but
your
it gives
children
me
and their
a
children,
different
you know.
feeling. But that was a fantastic question, though. What do
Yeah.
you think about that? Do you think that if you hustle doing just anything, like I said, I see all of this, learn how to be a millionaire, learn how to make six figures. All you got to do is sell this weight smudging bull crap. You know what I mean? And people do it because they want to make that coin. They want to hustle to make that coin. I gotta like what I do. I gotta like it, man. I gotta like it, or I'll
Yeah.
just go get a freaking job. Because if I'm gonna hustle regular hustle, then I'm just gonna go get a regular job. Then does that make sense? If I'm gonna
It,
hustle the way that I do, I better like it. Because if not, I'll just go get a job that I don't like. Does it make sense?
Yes.
yes. Yeah, but I was thinking because I was like, there's been times where I've hustled for my passion and hustled not for
Yeah,
my
Candace is in
passion
the chat.
and
She's here.
was
So
exhausted and stressed equally through both
It is,
processes.
but
And
did you get
so
where did you get your most fulfillment at though?
the fulfillment was through the passions, but there's also where that didn't happen. Like there's been multiple times where I've done passion projects and came out like, what was the point of that? So
Womp womp womp. Yes.
so that's why I was like, well, I mean, like I think like the hustle is the hustle. So like your body is going to experience that regardless. But yes, like what you're working for and what you're putting in that effort for at the end of the day, that does make a difference. And so yes, if I'm at my 9 to 5 and I'm doing this and I'm exhausted and I don't get anything out of it, but I do the same process with something that I actually like the outcome of, then at the end of it, it's better. But while you're going through that process, I think it's
Still
similar, at
exhausting.
least for me. Yeah.
What do you think, Daquan?
what's the question? I'm still
Different
sleepy. I'm
type
I
of
don't
sorry.
hustle.
know.
Do you think that it's different to hustle um just to make money versus hustling for a passion?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I literally just said this I saw Tatiana's post earlier about, feeling happy about
I
them
did too. That's
yeah,
why I invited her. Hi,
yeah.
Xavier. How's your daughter? Good to see you. Tatiana, I told her to join the show tonight because I was interested in her point of view because
Yeah.
she did make a post, Candace. She had made a post about being like she's been working hard her whole life with no validation and no recognition. And she
Hmm.
was finally honored at her job. She was recognized at her job. And so, I was interested in her joining us to ask her what it's like, for her to hustle all of this time, you know what I mean? And not be recognized and not be, and
Mm.
what about that recognition, which we're going to do a show about because you said, Candace, why is it so important for us
To
to get
get
that validation?
recognition and
Recognition
validation,
and
right? Yeah.
recognition. And so I wanted her point of view in this hustle, like the pros and cons of hustling. You know what I mean? So obviously, one of her pros is that she finally got recognized for all her damn hustling.
The
You know
Yep.
what I
payoff,
mean?
yeah.
Yeah,
That was
there was, but here goes to both of y'all. What did she say that payoff was? She didn't say a pay raise.
no,
She
but
said she was recognized.
that was my point that I was telling you because we talked about that. Like we talked about that, and me and mom talk about this, and we tell other people this because of an experience that I had when I was working at a place called Ball Corporation, and
This is great.
it was the job itself. Cool. The job, like my work that I actually did really wasn't that bad. The hours were kind of rough because it's 4 12-hour shifts back to back to back to back. So you're just boom, 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 50 hours, you're knocking them out. And then you get a couple days off. So you would get 4 days off, but you'd rest and then you come back. And it's like you never felt like you were fully recharged from the amount of hours that you put in. So, but it was the actual environment. The job environment was toxic for me. I was never recognized for my work. Matter of fact, any slip up, any mess up, any discrepancy in my work was immediately pointed out. I was constantly micromanaged. I was constantly, it felt like they didn't want me there. Like, that's the way that the environment felt at that job. And I was actually making pretty good money. Like, well, as far as money that I had made in a warehouse, I was making $20 an hour. So, you know what I mean? Pretty good. A lot of people ain't making that. So, I was satisfied. I was happy to be making $20 an hour. But after I lost that job, I went and I started working at a place, Office Depot. I was working at Office Depot, and I think I was making 15.50. So I was making $5 less. I was making $5 less at Office Depot, and I was working um like 14 hours less there. I was only working like 38 hours a week, 36, 38 hours. And
Hmm.
so, but I did not mind a single hour I spent at that job because every single day I went in there, it was, hey, how you doing? Hope you having a good day. And while I'm working my shift, they like, dang, you doing a bang up job over here. And while I'm cleaning my station, dang, your station look good. And it's I'm talking like every 3 hours they would come over and be like, thank you for your hard work. You busting your tail over here. And at the end of the day, I clean up my station. They be like, "You ain't have to do that, but dang, man, good stuff, good for you, thank you, man. We love that." And I'd be like, "Nah, because you keep coming over here to check on me, but when he was coming over to check on me, he wasn't coming over there to be like, oh, is your work done? Like, nah, he was coming over there to be like, here, I went to drop you off some extra materials so you can keep doing your thing, and I'm gonna get out of your hair. But good work, man, and I'm out of here." So it was the way I was treated there. I remember coming home and telling mom like, "Yo, this job is cool. This job is cake because of the way I was treated. I had the hardest job in there. I had to be lifting the heaviest things every day, all day, and I didn't mind it because the way that I was treated at that place, they constantly recognized my efforts, constantly praised me for doing things that for me cleaning up is natural. I raised in a household where you just clean up. That's what you do. If you in this area, you clean up. So I'm doing what I normally do anyway, but they giving me validation because they like we ain't never had nobody who clean up their station, bro. Like, thank you. And that's all that I didn't realize how much like
How important.
how important that was to get that thank you and to get that recognition. And all it was
Mhm.
just words. It was just kind words. It was just positive reinforcement. It was just, hey man, you doing a great job. Like, just hearing, I was like, hey, thanks, man. Like, I appreciate that. I'm gonna keep doing my thing. And they're like, yeah, man. Like, matter of fact, you working so hard. As soon as you finish with all that, you can go ahead and head home early. Like, And I'm like, yo, like that
Mhm.
was another incentive for me to keep working hard because it's like, yo, they told me every day, if you work hard the same way you did yesterday, early day for you. You get to leave while everybody else is in here working and taking their time. It was that attitude. So it was like when I seen her make that post, I was like, I'm right there with you. Like but to me that's not what hustle culture is. If I was what they say like is in hustle culture, I would want to keep in there and stay working, and I want to be the boss of this place, like,
No, I think
like
hustle culture. I think hustle culture.
Promotes
You would have
that.
never left ball.
that's very true. That's very true. But
Yeah.
at the end
Yep.
of the day, I didn't leave
Hustle
ball. I got
culture.
kicked out of
Hustle
ball.
culture
I
makes
got
you
fired,
do
so
hustle.
it wasn't my choice.
That's true. That's
Like,
true.
because
Hustle culture.
they was
Hustle
micromanaging
culture makes
mistakes and
you.
was like, you out of there.
The hustle culture makes you do whatever. To me, like if we're unpacking it, hustle culture seems like you do whatever it is to get
Yep.
that check.
Hustle
You know
culture
what I mean?
made me stay at ball.
Sacrificing.
That's that. I was at ball as long as I was because of hustle culture. That's why I stayed there. You know what I
Yes,
mean?
because oh, you making how
That's
much?
why
You
they
know what I
had to
mean?
fire me, because I wasn't planning on leaving. I was going to continue to suffer at that job and be mentally depressed and
But
emotionally
people looked
drained.
at you like,
You
ooh,
know what I
look
mean?
at you, look at
Yeah,
the check.
like I
But
was
you're
going
So
to
mentally
there
stay
you
there.
go.
Yeah,
exhausted. You know what I
Is
mean?
it
I was going to stay there.
sacrificing? Is it sacrificing yourself, whether it's your health, your mental health, your time, your family, your dreams, in order to live a life that other people expect of you?
I
That's
Which
think
hustle culture.
is,
I
oh, you
I
That's
making the
hustle culture.
money.
listen.
That's hustle culture
I
right
do
there.
think so, but I think now I think it's different. I think hustle culture is so predatory that I don't even think it's that no more. I think that people are so, and this is why I think that that nobody wants to work anymore ties into this so well, because I know for a fact that if you have a minimum wage job, you cannot live off that minimum wage job. But hustle culture will
And then you
tell
have to
you
have
that you're
other. You have
supposed
to
to
have other
have
hustle.
two jobs. Because even
Yes.
if you tired after your first job, hustle culture will tell you you not working hard enough, so you
Yep.
need to go get you a second job because you're not going to
Yes.
succeed unless you do go and break your
Yes.
back for that man and
Yes.
that man. So that's
Yes.
why I say, like,
Yes.
I
A
do
matter
agree
of
with you,
fact.
but I think that it's worse now because hustle culture has gotten so ingrained in us and it's become so toxic that, like, you're
Crazy.
shamed if you are not overworking yourself to the degree that you're just trying to get by overworking yourself. They feel like you have to overwork yourself to just get by, not even to succeed anymore. They still keep that lie in there, but that's why I say it's a
Mhm.
lie now, because you have to work that hard that you could before to succeed. Like you could work overtime at the post office and succeed. No, you work overtime at the post office now and you can put bread on the table. You know what I mean? So I think that's why hustle culture has become so bad now, because the dollar ain't the same, the work value isn't the same, the people are getting paid, unequal amounts for their work and being told that it's their fault. You know what I mean? So I
So
think that
you
that's why
think
it's
that
worse.
hustle culture is a cultural thing, right? So
Yes.
you think that it's a cultural thing because okay, so I'm going to piggyback on that with two different things. One, I had a because I do here goes my hustle. I do independent care providing. And so one of my clients I had a re-verification for them a couple days ago. Case manager, whom in which has a master's degree. Me as an independent care provider makes more than her, right? So um she was saying that she moonlights as a bartender and it pisses her off, and this is where Daquan comes in with him saying hustle culture. We've been forced in a hustle culture for two different reasons. One, corporations don't want to pay nothing. Two, goes into social media, which you were saying, Candace. This you have to look a certain way to people or you're ridiculed. You know what I mean? You ain't making, you don't have what? You ain't making what? And it's just like I can't make what they're not
Uh-oh.
paying me. You know what I mean? I got a master's and I'm
Ah.
only making. Did you know I didn't even know this. Did you know that the average American worker makes $31,000? That is the average American wage. Is $31,000. Now, who the hell ain't gonna have to have multiple hustles making $31,000 a year? You know what I
Exactly.
mean? It's like you almost have to hustle. In Ohio, I think it was 48,000 was the average in Ohio was the average was 48,000. So you have to hustle. This woman has a master's degree and she has to bartend at night. And she was like, I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do. She said, because I don't want to bartend forever. You know what I mean? So here she's
Oh
got, and
Lord.
then I know a couple people like tomorrow they're having a job fair in
Same
Columbus
problem.
and we were sending out the thing because people need two jobs. They need a job and a hustle. It's sometimes it's not that you want to hustle. It's that you don't have a choice. Like Daquan was saying, you absolutely have no choice because I'm gonna mention something else, and I'm gonna go over to you, Candace. But they just had an article. I sent it to you, Daquan.
Yes.
Um, McDonald's in California. Well, the restaurants in California
What up,
are trying to
Cuzzo?
make it that
What up, boy?
fast food restaurants have to pay $22 an hour. So the CEO of McDonald's was like, "That's some bull crap, da 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 da," because fast food restaurants aren't going to be able to get by. And I was like, "Y'all mother effing CEOs is making bank. So what are you saying? Like, so the people at the top, y'all gonna not be able to have a jet? Like, you guys are gonna have to have? Oh, I can't have two Lamborghinis. Like, there is." Y'all can give up a little bit so other people can effing live. The fact that he
Yeah.
even said that made me want to go. Yes, I know I'm so passionate. I wanted to go and karate kick him, wheel kick, spin kick, dead in the face. Like I just wanted to
So
just
not so much here, but right here,
just
right, right in
here.
here, right in,
Right
right.
here,
Oh yeah.
literally right just dead and just I just because
Gut and eyes moving.
the audacity of you to say we can't pay you $22 an hour.
Hey, all
You
we
know what I
missing
mean?
is you,
Like,
cousin. We need a little
did
bit
you
more
just
excellence
say
up in
that?
here,
Because you
BB.
you know where he
You
lives.
already
You
know.
know what kind of cars. You know his kids is in the best schools. And for you to say that, because 31,000, you can't even effing buy a house with 31,000. The minimum, the medium here is 48,000. You could barely buy a house with 48,000. You know what I mean? So the fact that he had the nerve to say that goes into what you were saying, Daquan. We're forced into hustle culture to just effing live. It's like I gotta live. You know what I mean? And then it goes also. So this hustle culture is we're forced into it, and it's bad enough that we're forced into it because jobs don't want to effing pay anything. But it's worse when you've got this ridiculing and these people on social media who's always like, "You ain't making six figures. I ain't know people wasn't making six figures. Why ain't you making six figures? You ain't making no effing six figures." You know what I mean? Like who? It kills me because half these people talking this, y'all ain't making no goddamn six figures. You know what I mean? Like, and if you do, you ain't making what you making 100 grand. Okay,
Yeah.
whoopity damn do. Talk to me when you make 500,000. You know what I mean? Come holler at me. But you
Income
only
stream.
making 70,000. Well, you making 101. You ain't far off. Shut up. Shut
Yeah, you should up.
up. Shaming damn people into hustle culture. People feel
Yeah.
forced and belittled into hustle culture.
I think
Now,
part of it is um because I was thinking, and what's also different is accessibility. Like I feel like it's easier for people to venture off on their own. So like for instance, there wasn't a time where you could just open a store and start drop shipping stuff. Like go
that's
online. There
true.
wasn't a time where you
That's
could
true.
open up a store on Etsy and then have like something. So I think like the fact that there are so many more options, and it's like, no, you don't have to go to this person. You don't have to go to that person. Well, if you want to get the get the code and sign up for the program. But ultimately I think with, and maybe it's a facade, maybe it's unrealistic, maybe it's a mirage, but the idea that it's easier to do it. You see an ad every 10 seconds on YouTube. You see this app? You see this app? I just made $20,000 just
Yes.
by using this app. Like, and like it makes it seem like it's so easy. So I think that plays into like, well, dang, why aren't I doing this?
Why
Why
not? No.
is me just having one job not no longer good enough? Not only, like you said, not to survive because now I actually need more money, but then also, like you said, because my job isn't going to pay me more money, now it's my responsibility to go out here and overwork myself, take myself away from my dreams and my family, and to probably do something that I don't like. But if all the stars align, maybe I do open my own business and then become a millionaire. But like you said, Daquan, like, yes, it can happen, but the chances of it happening, that's where it gets a little confusing.
Yeah.
And so
That's
I
why I
think
use that
like,
actor example because I feel like that's probably one of the best ones because
yes,
nobody
it
talks
is.
about all
Oh,
those guys who
absolutely.
are
Look, me
auditioning.
and Tasha
They
can
just
talk
be
to
like,
that.
"Oh, Michael B. Jordan, he did it. He's
Steve Harvey.
he was sleeping in his car and he made it. So that means you can too." Yeah, but come on, talk about all the people who didn't make it because you have
Yeah.
to like that's and once again that's why I say like the misleading nature of it is why I just like it's a lie. Like it's just so intent and
Annoying.
it's the malicious intent behind it. You know you're going to fool people into hope because that's we're
You're
naturally
selling them
going
Snake
to
dreams.
hope.
oil.
Yeah, you're selling them these hope and since we live in such a hopeless time where just
Ooh.
everything seems so bleak and all we
Yes.
get is bad
And
news
people are
from not just the
broke.
news but social media making you feel like inadequate because you feel like you're not where you're supposed to be at in life. You ain't in shape because that person's in shape, but they just got a BBL, but they saying they
You can't
natural and it
dance
makes you
good
feel
enough.
like yeah you can't do your dance move the way that dude did his dance move because you're not dancing no more because you ain't got no time to dance and you can't afford a membership to the dance studio. You can't like so it's all of that, right? It's all of that. You live in such a bleak time to where, and then you go and you work yourself to death to where the only thing that you want to do when you're not working is sleep because you're tired.
Yes. Oh, no, no,
And
no. But
then
you can sleep when you're dead.
right, but
Mm-mm.
the whole thing is that the hustle culture in and of itself is supposed to make you feel guilty for being tired. It's like
Yes.
you're not allowed to be sleepy. You're not allowed to rest because billionaires, they don't sleep. Yes, they do. That's
Yes,
all
they
they
do.
do. That's what I'm saying.
No,
But
because
but
you're
hustle culture,
shamed.
yeah.
You're,
Yeah,
you're
hustle culture will
shamed.
tell you that.
Because
You're
you have
shamed.
thousands of people working for you. Like,
Exactly.
there's a difference.
But they're like
There's
when
a
they
difference
first
between
started, they wasn't sleeping.
delegating.
They was up 19 hours a day working hard on their business. No, they wasn't. No, they wasn't. You know what I mean?
You
Like I met enough
you're
entrepreneurs to know that no, they wasn't.
now. So the pros to hustle culture. I'm going to go over to what Candace said. The pros to hustle culture is that um, there are way more opportunities for people to have access to make money than there's been before. So the access
Christian,
to
have they sent you
be
any
able
word
to
over
hustle and
about
have multiple
your
crimes
tryouts?
is totally
I know you
different
said you was gonna
now
text me, but
and
if they did,
and
let me know.
more accessible, like she
Cause we're
said, through
still on for next
Etsy, through
Saturday.
free social media marketing, TikTok videos, through social media posts. We've got this guerrilla marketing techniques, which is free. Before you had to pay to be on TV to even be seen. Where
What
now
are you
you've
doing,
got
camera?
access to being able to have multiple hustles. Another
This thing,
pro.
it's just sliding all over the place.
So accessibility is a pro. Then I also think the extra income that you can make from. So here's one thing that I told people to do if you're going to have hustles. Me and Candace, we talk about this too a lot. Um, I say do this. What are you good at? Right? What is it that you do that you want to do? If you want to do a bakery, start selling cookies. Right? Say if I make an extra 5,000. Start low. Don't go crazy. I need to make 50,000 from this. Don't do that because what Daquan says is then you're selling yourself a dream. Other people are selling you a dream, making you feel like you can make 50,000 from just listening to their podcast. Shut the hell up. Like don't I hate that. It's really predatory. I can tell you like me, I a lot of people wanted me to start doing a flipping houses workshop because people were going around, do you want to flip houses? Call us now. We've got 5 openings, and that thing would roll for 12 months. You still got 5 openings? You ain't found 5 people yet? You know what I mean? So, and then you're telling these people that you can help them flip houses when you really can't. Like, I can tell you what I did, but I can't guarantee you that it's going to work the way that it did for me and my husband, right? Because we did a lot of the work ourselves. We knew how to do the work ourselves. We knew how to not get ripped off by contractors because we know that there's not a such thing as an elbow sink. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's just certain things that certain people can do that they're good at that I don't want to sell you snake oil. So that's where Daquanas talk about that predatory type thing. But I say, what is it that you are good at? And like me, I just really put myself, I gave myself a mission. I said, I'm gonna start with a low number. I'm gonna
There we
take three of my hustles, and say, I want to make 5,000. It sounds stupid, but I'm gonna make $5,000 a year off of each one of those hustles. Because what am I doing? I'm setting small goals. I'm setting small, doable goals. And then everything over that is an overachievement, which I could be proud of. So if I take 3 of those hustles and I make $5,000 a year, which people can laugh and ridicule me all they want to, but I don't care. This is what I think is good about a hustle that is kind of like that'll make you not have anxiety, right? Especially if you already got a regular job. So I said, if I take 3 hustles that I like to do, which is feminine energy, epoxy, memory tables, remember me, and teaching and speaking. So if I make 5,000 off of each one of those, that's an extra $15,000 a year on top of what we already do as a business. So 15,000. Look at this. Hear me out. If I make 15,000 doing 3 things that I love, right? And I just bank that. I just sit the 15,000 in the bank that I've made, and that's easy. You should be able to make $5,000 a year, because if you take that and you divide it into 12, that's really making nothing. So if you make that extra 15,000 and the medium wage is 31,000, that's the average is 31,000. I've already made off of 3 hustles that I love. I've already made half of what the normal average worker makes per year. I've already made half of that doing 3 things that I love. So that's another good thing about a hustle. So you can take that 15,000 and you can set it up for retirement. You can save that 15,000 for 5 years. You know what I mean? That you make from your hustles, and you can take a nice trip. You can put it to a down payment on you buy a car straight out. You can save it for your kids. So there's pros. Those are the pros to hustles. Then I would say that the cons are what we said, this pressure, this anxiety. A way to alleviate that anxiety is to take it easy on yourself. You know what I mean? Like, if you don't live within your means, first of all, you know what I mean? Live within your effing means. And just take it easy on yourself. Give yourself small chunks. The reason I said 5,000 is because I know it's a doable number. And it sounds like a very small number, but like I said, if you do that with 3 things that you really love and you make 5,000, that's 15,000. That's half of what somebody makes in a year. So
yeah, that's a great idea. No, I'm not picking on you, but I like when you were talking, it made me think of hustle culture because you're like, I know that sounds small, and in my head, I'm thinking that's
Yeah,
extra
it doesn't.
money.
That
You know what I'm
I was like
saying? Like, so
$5,000. I'm like, I listen. I can live for a good minute off of $5,000 based off of a budget. I promise you, $5,000, 3 business. I'm good. I got
but
it.
I'm talking about in a year time, right? $5,000
Yep.
in a year.
That still sounds
Yeah.
mighty good. Like,
so yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It's like the hustle culture perhaps has told us that's not enough, but it is, right? Like,
yeah.
so that's what I'm saying. Like, it's extra money, and in your situation, it's on top of what you already have. So
Yeah.
it's not like you need it to survive. It's a bonus. So whatever that bonus is great.
And a lot of times you guys will really never see me out here ever really saying what we have. If you notice, you don't really ever see me saying what we have. Now I might show our epoxy floors or my new lamp or you know what I mean, stuff
But
like
that's
that, just
because
for
people are going to
decoration
infer
purposes.
what you have based off of the things that you guys do that other people can't do. When y'all hung up that chandelier in a dance room, it looks like a goddamn shattered disco ball made of diamonds. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's going to have people thinking, "Oh, they got bread over there." But really, you might have found it at an auction website and y'all hung it up individually and paid $150 for the whole daggone
You
shebang.
better preach.
So,
You
but
better preach.
but so
That's a part of hustle culture.
it is. That's what I'm saying. So I'm like,
God.
you're still, unfortunately, you're an involuntary proponent of hustle culture because you are saying, because you worked hard. You worked hard to put those things up, and it's a labor of love, and y'all enjoyed every minute of doing what y'all do. But y'all have fantastic things. Y'all have a refrigerator that y'all can talk to. You know what I mean? And y'all can watch TV off of. And but we was there hauling that big goddamn bastard all the way in there and tweaking it, and Dad almost hurt his back so we can get that thing and shimmy it and on a epoxy floor that we had to go over top of. So, but the whole thing is they not gonna see that. Right, but the whole thing is that they not gonna see that. They're gonna see what y'all got, and even just by showing, like, hey, look at this project that we worked hard on and we're proud of. You're not intending to be a proponent of hustle culture, but people, because we are so attached to it, are gonna interpret it as I gotta get what they got, and I gotta work harder because I need what they got. I need to be on their level to have the money to do what they, because they see it and they think, oh, that must have been expensive. That they probably broke off bread when really y'all did the job yourself. We renovated that kitchen and did it with our own hands. But people will spend thousands of dollars doing it. So when they see the new renovated kitchen, they're gonna think, oh man, they probably 10, 15 grand on this bad boy, 20 grand on this bad boy. You know, they got bread. I gotta do what they doing. I gotta get on to what they going. And that's why people started coming to y'all about them things like, oh, can y'all start selling us these classes, start selling us these dreams, because y'all got things that we dream about. You know what I mean?
I absolutely refuse to do it. Now I would sit and people can pay me to consult with me. You know what I mean? They could pay a fee to consult with me about it, but I'm very transparent that I cannot. And I actually seen something online the other day, and something told me to mind your business, that's all. But it was a post about, here, come to this workshop and I'm going to tell you how to sell houses. And I'm just like, there's no effing houses on the market. Stop lying to these people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I kind of chime in like, do you want to know how to sell real estate? Do you want to learn how to buy a garbage ass house for $75,000 that, you know what I mean, that you're going to have to put $200,000 in? Like, right now is not a real good time because there's really nothing on the market. So when I see people doing that, they're doing that because you're not making houses, you're not making money selling houses. So now you want to come and take advantage, hustle culture. You want to come and take advantage of other people by telling them, hey, you can get this stuff that I have. Let me teach you how. But you can't.
Yeah, but
there's no
Jisoo,
houses
you gotta
out there,
think, right?
and they're astronomical
For
right
people
now.
like us,
So now you want to go
when
take
you
advantage
spend
of
more,
people and
because
sell
we're
them
saying
snake oil.
$5,000.
And it goes into,
So
like you said, you want to, Daquan, you want to sell them a
when you
dream. And
spend
to me, that's just a shitty
$5,000
thing
in
to
a day, which my
do. You know what
sister's
I
done
mean?
that
Like,
as well.
it's just,
We
it's
have
not.
disagreements about that because that's a lot of money to
Sorry,
spend
no, I didn't mean to cut
just
you off.
all in one
Why
sitting.
is
And when a
when you
lot
were
of people
talking,
like
that
me
made me
see
think of
that,
something in
it's like,
Daquan.
dang, you're
So
like,
why is the
it's
answer
always
or
strange.
the reaction to work more? Like, if I
Mhm.
see somebody else has something or I see somebody did something, why is it, oh, I
Mhm.
gotta work more to get it? Why can't it
That's a
be,
good
oh, let me
point.
ask somebody to give it to me, or let me connect with some other person to get it?
Because
Like, why
we
do
don't
we
know nobody.
automatically go to effort?
Because
So
that's
it's
the
based off like
simplest
who you
way.
know.
It is based off of who you know, but it's what you know. So for the vast majority of us, the only thing we've ever been compensated for is labor.
Is work.
You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So we don't get
That move.
compensated for our thoughts. We don't get compensated for our opinions and what we talk about. And the upper echelon kind of people do. You have political commentators who get paid millions of dollars to spread propaganda. You get people who go on to Fox News and just say whatever is the buzzwords, and they get paid millions of dollars. There's a YouTuber named Steven Crowder who spreads propaganda, right-wing propaganda on YouTube, and he got mad at a place for only offering him $50 million in his contract. So it's that kind of, nature where it's like he gets paid to talk. That, so for him, he's valuing his words as this. But us, when all we have ever been paid for is to just break our back to do something, then that's all we're going to think of doing when we want to achieve something. Like a
So
football
so
player. A football player is going to be like, dang, this dude took my position from me. I got to work out more. I got to run more. I got to train harder so I can get my position back, or I can get a better spot or something like that. It's what you know. You know what I mean?
But
It's what you're built into.
if it was a situation to where you know that you're in an environment and you feel that you'll be successful this way, to say, oh, he took my spot on the football team, let me go call Joe so we can have a conversation about this, because I
Oh
ain't gotta
yeah.
work.
Oh
All
yeah.
I gotta do is call this person up and it's gonna
Oh yeah.
happen.
And people, I believe that a lot of people will call that working smarter instead of working harder. But if you don't
Yes.
know Joe, and you just a dude on the team who got a spot just because, they needed an extra body or something, you know what I mean? All you're going to know is I just got to put in this work. You know what I mean?
How do we change that to where we start looking for other ways to get things done rather than through labor?
so one of the things, let me answer that and I'll let you
Uh-huh.
answer that, Kwam. I'm going to answer that. Candace, I think one of the ways that we do that is actually something that I had put on my page. And I actually have to go back and answer a question that someone said. Because I said, we see all of these posts that says make 100,000, and I actually wanted, that is the topic that I want to talk about in the future, where it is getting income shamed, right? People get income shamed for only making 30,000 a year. You know what I mean? Oh, I'm gonna need my man to make that. Well, he can't, because he can't make them pay him more. Well, I'm gonna need him to have initiative. He's got a master's. That's what they're paying him. What do you want him to do? You know what I mean? So I think that I think that people have to be happy where they're at. Okay. What I mean by that? Okay, our house did not cost us a whole bunch of money because we bought it toe the hell up, right? Because we have the skill to fix it. So fix what you have, if that makes sense. So if you can only afford a $50,000 house, buy a $50,000 house and get on some auction websites and buy you some cute ass stuff. You know what I mean? And take your, just make it yours. Whatever you have, be happy with it. And I think that that's where one of the places that we have to be is just happy with what
Oh,
we
you're our jobs
have.
where our work is
But
positively
going
acknowledged.
into what
Yeah,
Daquan
we're
said,
very
it's
different.
almost impossible to
We're
freaking
very
breathe
different.
because we're getting choked to death by,
We're
you know what I mean?
inspired
Like,
to
you
work.
almost
We're
gotta hustle to
inspired to
survive.
do better.
But
We're
that goes into,
inspired
if you can
to,
only buy,
you know,
I
um,
have this a lot, like on our
just
car
put in that
dealership.
effort,
We have people that have two
because the
thousand
job
dollars
is
and
responding
they'll
with that,
come
with
out
positive
and we'll have a
reinforcement,
two
saying,
thousand
hey,
dollar
we
car
see you.
that have some rust
And
on
that's
it.
all we
You know
really
what I
be
mean?
wanting,
It's $2,000.
for them to just
You
see
worked
us
hard
like,
for
you
it.
see
I've been
me.
there before where I've only had $2,000. We used to be negative $600 in our bank account, right? So, but
Put
every
the
place
comment
that we
as a text to
lived,
someone else.
we made it cute. We made it home. We made it. We had decorations that we loved.
Oh,
We
you are on
we
your
had
phone, huh,
love there. We
Nessa?
had
Yeah,
kids
that
there.
would make
It was
sense.
a
I
lot
wouldn't be
of
surprised about
love.
that.
It wasn't like, oh, we got to buy a bigger house. We got to. So I think it's being happy with where you are and accepting
Mm.
self. You know what
Oh,
I mean?
goodness.
They wouldn't want the $2,000 car. Daquan, what would they do? Because Daquan used to run the car dealership for us. What would they do? They would come out and they would have $2,000. We would show them a car with rust on it. What would they do?
Oh, they would complain. They'd be like, I don't want this.
And then what would they go look at?
Probably like a $5,000 to $6,000 car.
Hey,
and
why
and
can't I
and
get this?
and then you would tell them, you would be like, yo, that car is $5,500. You only got 2,000 on you. They're like, well, can you do 1999? I got 1999 cash.
Cash.
I got cash on me right now in your hand. 1999 out the door, no taxes. I'm like, sir, the car is the lowest they could probably do is 49.99 out the door. Yeah, 2,000 cash. I could even do 2,500 cash in your hand, cold right now. It's
So what?
like,
And I'll give you this pack of bubble gum. You know what I
yeah,
mean? So,
maybe a kiss on the cheek
so
and none of that. No, no.
so it was they didn't want what they. And then I would see a lot of people. They would take that money and go buy. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make a video on, to me, ways that people can be happy where they're at. Right? If you have money for a $2,000 car, I've driven. I had a van. Me and Tyrone had a van. My husband, where we had to get out and like hotwire it to start to get, you know what I mean? Because we had to hotwire it to get it to go. And that was fine by us. It was where we were at. You know what I mean? So um get the $2,000 car, they would take the 2,000, they would go make payments. They would take it to a buy here, pay here lot, and they would go make payments on the car and end up losing the car, you know what I mean, within the first year or maybe within the first, 2 years, or have things break down on it. You don't have a warranty, you know what I mean? Now you got to make your payments and your insurance and you know what I mean? And now you got to
You
fix your
sent them to
car.
two
Well, if you
different
just bought
people.
a $2,000 car, you could have just drove it until the wheels fall off.
You gotta be careful,
So it's
Nessa.
being
Jeez.
happy where you are and being at peace with where you are until you can move forward. And you can move forward by getting a little baby hustle. What is it? Make earrings, sell earrings, try to make $5,000 extra a year. Save that $5,000 up for that year, bring it to us, get a $5,000 car, pay it off. So I'm going to start making tips for people to be okay with where you're at. Candace, that to me is how we can shift the mind. But I don't think that it will ever change because there's always, even on the professional pages that I really appreciate people trying to say, hey, people of color, we can build wealth. We could do this here. Let's build this wealth. But it also annoys me because what if a person can't? What if a person is doing the best that they can do? Damn. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? What if they're doing the best that they could do? Now they feel like they're not good enough because they can't make $2.5 million like this girl that you have on your page. I'm proud of her and I'm glad that you put her out there. But sometimes it makes people feel like they're not good enough, that they're not hustling hard enough, like they haven't given it all that they've got. You know what I mean? And it's all about having what you have and making it the best that you can and appreciating it. That to me is how you shift it. Is
So
Mm.
being
can
happy
I
where
can
you
I
are.
interject? I just had one question. I got an actual question. So it's about that whole kind of $2,000. They want a $5,000 car kind of thing, or
Yes,
um.
which is our
So
life.
it is, but I was thinking about that, and I just wonder because I wonder if people do things like that because some people work harder for $2,000 than others. You know,
Absolutely. That's why I
so
said it's a lot of money.
yeah, well, no, 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 that's not necessarily what I mean. Like, it's regardless of how you look at it from whatever standpoint. Unless you just got bread on top of bread, $2,000 might not be nothing to you. But like, for somebody who worked real, real hard and was saving up for like 5 months to get that $2,000, they're gonna value that $2,000 differently than somebody who worked in 2 months to get that $2,000. So
Yeah.
it's gonna be much harder for them to come off of that, and they're probably going to want something because they value that $2,000 probably more valuable than $2,000 actually worth because they probably worked for the amount of
More
work,
than.
yeah, that they put in was probably worth four thousand
Mm,
dollars, but they only got two
Mhm.
thousand. So I think that sometimes we can be a little hard on some people because it's irritating from our perspective. Because at the end of the day, we can't take a L for you. You know what I mean? Because then we gonna be out here looking rough. But at the same time, it's still like a thing where I still empathize with some people who are like that because I can understand that if you got $2,000, some people are just like, I do want that $5,000 car because I feel like the work I put in for this $2,000 should get me that car. I
that's
worked
a great
hard.
point. That's
So
a
I
great
Mhm.
think
point,
that
Nicole.
it's just another thing to where I will piggyback off of what you said, and I think a big way that we can break off a hustle culture is to have more empathy, is to empathize with others and recognize that that person's hard work is not the same definition as mine is for hard work. You know, I used to consider 4 hours in the gym hard work. Some people would look at that and be like, "You're an actual maniac person. I don't like you." You know, I'm not cool with that. So, but that's the thing, right? Is like my definition of hard work is like if you ain't hitting that and you ain't in there for at least 3 hours, you're not working hard enough. I was telling myself that. But other people are like, man, like I put in hard work today. I was in the gym for an hour, a whole hour. I was in there working. So it's like everybody's definition of hard work is gonna be different. So it's important for us
But
to
do you think that
empathize.
do you think that we lose empathy? Because I said so I remember at a point in time where I had no vehicle whatsoever. I was working at the post office. Um, and I had to save up a check and a half. I think I had to save up
How do
a
you know
check
when
and
you
a
are in a
half.
good
And
position to
then
stop
after that check was
working
gone, I was about to be
hard
broke.
and just
This is
enjoy
the
what you
only
have when you
I had
see
like
someone
two
else with
real
better
jobs
things
in
than
my
you?
life, and I call them real
That's a
jobs
very
because they
good
were nine
question,
to
Jisoo. That's a
fives.
very good question.
I
Um,
haven't did very many 9 to 5s in my life,
I think the thing is that when you see somebody who has better things
but
to
I
you, it's a matter of
remember
perspective.
not having a
If I
car,
see somebody who
and
has a car that's
then I
nicer
went to
than
this
mine,
guy and he had a car that was $2,500,
it won't matter to me
and
because
I
if I
had
have the
that.
car that
But
I
I didn't
wanted
go to
or the car
someone
that
who
I
had a
like, that
$5,000
means
car
nothing to
because
me.
even
So
though I worked
it's
hard
about
for that
not
car,
comparing yourself to other
worked hard for that
people
money
and focusing
to
more
save
on being
it,
happy
I
with the things
can't
that
go
you've
get a
achieved.
$5,000
Because that
car. To
person who
me,
got
it
that
doesn't.
car that's
To
nicer
me,
than yours or
Daquan,
whatever
I hear what you're
probably had
saying, and I
opportunities you
really,
didn't
really,
have,
truly
you know?
can appreciate that
Um,
perspective. I
and
do,
I
because
don't
I
believe you're
always
ever
like
in
things that make
a
me
good
say,
position
okay, let
to
me make
stop
sure that I'm
working
not the
hard.
asshole, right?
I feel like there's
But
always
and
something
check
to
yourself, because
achieve
sometimes we have to check
and something
ourselves.
to work
To
hard
me, I'm
towards,
not going to go to
but there
someone
are
who has a
different levels
$5,000
of,
car and I
you
have
know, working
$2,500
hard.
and
I
think
think
that
there
he should
are
adjust it
positions,
because
like if
I'm
you're
me.
comfortable enough to
And a lot
provide
of
for
times I would
yourself
see
and
women
take
who
care of yourself,
really did this
then
a
I think
lot, and it
that's when
kind
you're
of
in a
annoyed me, and
position
I
to
hate
where
to
you
say it
don't have
because I
to
was a
work
single
as
mom.
hard as you were
I'm a
getting
single
into that
mom. Can
comfortable
you
position.
take half off?
Oh, hello, Jessica.
No, because I'm a single mom
What up,
too.
Josh?
You know what I mean? So you get these kind of, to me, it's these kind of hustles like, well, I'm a single mom. Can you take half off of your car? You know what I mean? And so I think that it can almost be predatory for you to feel like I should take half off of what it is that I'm doing. You know what I mean? To make your life easier. You know what
Right,
I
right.
know that sounds really mean, but
But I did say that though. I did say that, you know, we can't take the L for empathizing with you. I was just saying that I think that we do need more empathy to at least understand where these people are coming from when they do have those stories, because they might genuinely feel like I had a rough time and I'm a single mom and I'm struggling, and it's like we do empathize with that, but at the same time that doesn't mean that we got to struggle because, you know, like, because we can't start struggling because you struggling. Like we can't transfer some of that struggle on us from everybody who comes our way with my dog died, you know, like we can't do that. But I am saying that socially, not just, I wasn't talking just about us, I'm saying socially, if we empathize with the fact that people are breaking their backs at these jobs and not getting paid what they deserve, you know, it is
absolutely,
the fact that we don't have
absolutely.
social empathy for those people, and instead of empathizing, be like, dang, you working hard and you not getting paid, and that's wrong. You know, you should be getting paid more for what you're doing. Instead, we're turning around and being like, you should be making more, and it's your fault that you're not making more because you aren't
But that's
working
but
at this job too.
that's true. That's true to a certain point. So let me say the slogan for our dealership is working hard for the hardworking people. Right? So our whole thing with our dealership was selling cars to people, and our, you know, Daquan, that most of our inventory was $2,500 and under.
Yes,
We catered
we
to
we
people
we
who
catered to the working
we
class.
catered to people who did not have a lot of income, who's, you can't go out and buy your kid an 8,000, 10,000, $20,000
Right.
car. You know what I mean? So we
Oh,
catered
Mug
to
Chick is
that
here. I didn't see Mug
income
Chick.
level. Our whole dealership was based off of 2,500, and a $5,000 car was was huge in our
Realistically, you have to
dealership.
know how
Like,
much you make / spend and
it's
how much
$5,000
debt you
car.
have.
You
You have
don't
zero debt,
because
money to
we
pay
cater
land
to
taxes
people
until you
who
pass
had
away,
lower
and a
income.
car
You
owner
know what
and
I
stuff
mean?
to
Who
us to be
might have
happy.
lost a
That's very
job,
true,
who
Josh.
needed
It
a
is
second
very
income
much up
car,
to us to
who
determine
needed just to get to work, who needed just to get to
what
school.
we
When
feel
we
like we
started
require
renovating and
to be
flipping
happy.
houses in the
And
inner
if we
city, we did it
truly
based
feel
off of
like we
people who
cannot
make
be
that
happy if
31,000,
somebody
that
else has nicer
48,000,
things
who
than
may
us,
not
then
be able to
we have to do
afford
some
a
reflecting and recognize that
$200,000
we
house
might
or a
be materialistic.
$300,000 house. We were
And
like,
if we're materialistic, what are we going to do about it?
need
You
to
know,
buy
are
a
we going to
house
live
too.
beyond our
You
means?
know what
Are
I
we going to
mean?
put ourselves in a debt so we can have
People
nice
who work at
things
Target need
that
to
don't
be
really
able to
have
buy
any value
houses too.
besides
So
their,
our
you know,
whole everything
price
that we
tag?
did was based around people
So
who
I
had
think
lower
when you
income.
get in a very
You know what I
dangerous
mean?
position,
So,
Jisoo,
but I
when you
still
are
think,
bringing up other people having nice
I
things
can't really
or
say
compared
this,
to
but
you,
I'm
and it
going to, but in a different
affecting
way.
your life in any way.
We had
You know,
somebody
somebody else
who
having
we
a nice
knew
house,
who
I can understand that
they're
inspiring you
carless,
to want to
and
maybe
we're just like,
pursue
hey, we
greater
got a
things and
car,
achieve
you know,
higher.
up at the shop
I don't
that
have,
we
I don't
got
feel
for
anything
$2
wrong with
grand,
that. But to make it
and they were
feel
like,
like
no, I
if
want
you
this
have
one,
nice things and somebody else
which it
having
was $4
nice
grand,
things makes you
and we're
feel
like,
bad about
no,
yourself
we got
and
one.
makes
You
you
don't
feel
have
like,
a
you know,
car at
you have
all.
to
And we're
have a
like,
nicer
well,
thing
we
than the
can sell you
next
this
man
one
to be
too.
happy,
Nah, I like
then
this
you're
one.
not
This one
ever
is
going
sharp.
to be happy.
But you don't have the money for this one. That goes back into
What is
you
popping
have
up?
to be
Oh
okay
yeah,
with where you're at.
that
Because
ghetto
if
gospel
you
in.
feel like I worked hard, so I need this, you're not there yet. So that goes against everything that I've been trying to
two
say.
cars and a few
You have
motorcycles.
to
Yeah,
be
I knew
okay
about your
with
cars and
where you're at.
motorcycles.
If you can only get a
But yeah,
$2,000
so
car,
that's
shoot,
an
put you
important thing,
some,
Jisoo,
you
is
know,
like
some incense or
understanding
some,
that
make it cute. You
coming
know
from
what
a
I mean? Like, you
lifestyle
have to
that
be okay with
for
where you're
many
at.
people here in
It's
America or just
it's
most
unfortunate
people in
because, like you
America,
said,
you
Daquan,
have a luxurious
corporate
lifestyle.
America has
You
a
know,
lot of blame to do with this, with what they're paying. But at the end of the day, if you're not okay with the $2,000 car, then we can't get rid of, which Candace was saying, we can't get rid of this hustle mindset because we always feel like we have to have that $5,000 car instead of what it is that we could afford. One of the things I want to say about my cousin, Candace, Candy Ray Productions, is she hustles. She works. She has multiple hustles. She grinds. So one of the things that I preached to her was don't have a car payment. So Candace listened to our advice, and what did she do? She saved. So she's got, I don't want to put your business out there, but I kind of do because you're like an example. No, you're a shining example of exactly what it is that I'm talking about because you were struggling at one time. You know what I mean? And then you saved and you saved and you saved. And then you got, I'm not going to put it all the way out there, but she came to us and she bought a G6 and she rolled the damn wheels off that car, baby. When I tell you, she had that car for like 7-8 decades. She had that car for like 10 years. And the paint was faded. You know what I mean? Like, and she rode it and she hustled in it. She grinded in it. She took it to do extra hustle jobs. Like she was shooting weddings and videos. And I mean, she hustled in this car. And she was comfortable and happy with where she was at. And when I tell you the paint was faded, I was like, let me paint this car. Nah, I'm good. You know what I mean? And she wrote it and she saved. And I had pulled up years ago, probably 10 years ago, I'm going to say. I pulled up in her house and I just put your business out there. I pulled up in her house in her dream car. I ain't even like it. I was just like, I don't like the color, right? And she was like, "That's my dream car. Though you tripping?"
I've always wanted to own my own business.
It was the Lexus
Yeah.
SC430.
I think that's a big part, right? Is like hustle culture can have its
like, "That's my dream
pros
car."
in the sense
What
to
did
where
she
we
do?
can inspire
She
each
kept
other
that G6, rolled it till the wheels came off.
achieve greater.
She saved,
You know,
saved.
So I do think there can be positives
And
when it comes to
then
hustle culture, but I
she
just think
went
that we
and she
just
bought
took it to the
cashed
extreme,
out.
you know.
Hey.
her dream car. She went and cashed out a Lexus, but she saved.
She gave him
She saved
$2,000
herself.
cash.
I got 2,500. But I'm just saying it because she sacrificed. She was happy where she was at. It was good enough for her.
Some of my friends in my
because
Korean
it didn't
age,
take away from her.
25,
She
my
was
foreign
still
age,
beautiful.
23,
She was still
work
bombing
here
her side
and
gigs.
there,
She
but
was
not
still
really.
bombing her job.
Yeah,
You know
but
what
I mean, listen,
And then
Jisoo, there's
she stayed
nothing
in the
wrong
apartment. She stayed
with
there, stayed,
being
She
born
stacked,
privileged,
stacked.
right? But
She
there is an
listened to
important
advice of
thing to
others
acknowledge
and went
that privilege.
and
You
went
know,
with
and
houses,
recognize it and know
you
that
know,
there are other people who are less
I'm putting
fortunate
your
than
business
you,
all out there.
and
But all I'm trying to say is she
and just
is
know
a
that it's
Sure.
like, hey, like
to
if
me,
you
she's
have
a
these nice
homeowner now.
things,
She
don't
cashed her
don't
out
put other people down for
not
not
two
having
luxury
those
cars.
nice
She
things. You
cashed
know,
out. She cashed out not
I'm
one
not
but
going to
two.
get mad at you for having nice
She
things or
went
being
from
prosperous
owning
because your family is doing
one
well.
just
You know,
regular
but I
car
will
for
get upset
10
if
years.
you decide to
10
shame other
years.
people for not having
She
what you
was
have,
okay with
where
where
you
she
acknowledge
was
that you don't really
at.
have to work that
And that's
much.
how,
You
and
know,
that is what I want to
like
preach. That is what
it's
I want to
it's
speak on.
it's like if
That
you
is what I
acknowledge
want
that,
people to be
then
okay with where they're at.
it's
And
good.
we're
It's
actually
positive
doing things
steps.
to
My
her
dad was
house,
played this whole
but
life
we're
trying to
doing
keep
it
up
as
with
we
the Jones.
can.
Sadly, the Joneses, Annie, and
And
everybody.
then probably
But you're
3 years from now,
unfortunately
she
your
gonna
father
walk
was
in and her
plagued with
house is
something
gonna
that
be
a lot of
cold,
people in the
but a
black
lot of
community
the
are
stuff
plagued
is
with.
cold
You know,
already.
like
But a lot of stuff she
this
gonna get,
this
we're
desire
gonna
to
get off
keep up with
auction
other
websites.
people and to
We're
be
gonna
better
get
than
from
the next
liquidators.
man,
We're gonna get
instead
from
of inspiring
wholesalers.
the next
A lot
man
of the
for
work we're
us to
gonna teach her
all
how to do by
prosper
herself.
and
We're gonna help
thrive.
her. So I'm
More
just
information
saying,
stuff from his
be
financial.
okay
Yeah,
with
that's
where
so
you're at and
unfortunate.
just build. So I think, Candace,
Love,
if I
I'm
could answer
richer
that
than your
question,
whole family.
my main thing would be
Okay,
okay with
cool.
where
I
you're at.
guess
And
good,
you
good
are
for
an
you. I
absolute
don't.
beautiful,
I
shining
which is, you know
example of
what's
that.
interesting about that comment is
You.
that I was just talking about Jisoo
Wow.
about not
You. I
Yes.
appreciate that.
not kind
A
of making
little
other
like
people feel disparaged about
transparency
not
because
having as much money as you. So
although I
you
was,
coming to say that you're richer
I
than my
made
whole
it through.
family,
I wasn't always happy.
so what? What does that mean? Are
No,
you
that's
happy?
fine.
Where I
Thank
was,
you for
Are you
but
sharing that.
happy with that? Are
Thank
you
you for sharing
did
yeah.
that
that
because that's
comment make
important
you
for
feel
people
better
to
about
know
yourself? That
how
like
you did
what
that.
did you get
Like,
out
how
of
did you say?
saying
How
that?
did you make it
You
through
know,
to do what you
and
did, to buy
why
a
should I
house, to
care
become a
that you're richer
homeowner,
than
to
me and
buy
my whole
to
family?
cash
And
out 2
you know,
luxury
what does that
cars?
mean to me?
Like, and it's not like
He wasn't the
you
breadwinner.
don't be
The
out here
fact
like,
that
yeah. It was hard work
oh,
for
that
you.
is
So
true. Your
kind of
dad isn't
explain to
black.
people
That is
how you
true.
did
That
that,
is true. But it is, I still
how it
acknowledge
felt.
that it is a problem in the black community. I think it
I
is
think you're
especially a
muted.
problem in the black community.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. It felt like kind of what I talked about, like we talked about in the
Like
beginning.
aside from his
Um,
art, he was able to
it
sell
was definitely like
sometime after
exhausting.
we were grown
I
adults.
would say I did have a
Oh wow,
hard
so he was still working 2
time
jobs.
seeing the end.
Yeah,
Like
both less a
like
month each,
the
years in
hustle
between.
was real
Yeah,
and it didn't feel good. I
that's
think
unfortunate.
the
I
times
don't like
where
when people have to
it
work
did
2
feel good,
jobs
like going
to
back to
just
what we
get
talked
by
about,
and to just
recognition.
provide for
So like
their
with
families.
my
Like
job,
I
of
feel like you
course,
should
like
be
new
able to
raises and
provide for
being
yourself and your
promoted,
family working
that's
1
always,
job 40
that
hours
always
a
makes
week.
it better.
Like I
And
feel like
then as
40
far
hours
as
a
like
week
the
should be
other
like, yeah,
side, like you know, as you start to grow
you
your
know, putting
business,
in that
you
work
start
for
to
his family.
see,
He's putting in that
the
40
fruits of
hours,
your
that
labor
5
or
days a
your
week,
vision
every single day,
come.
busting his tail,
But
9
I
to
mean,
5.
it's a lot of work. Like it's exhausting,
I tried to help
especially
as
when
much as I
you're
can. That's good,
doing it by
Jisoo. That's good.
yourself. So, but
No,
Say that
he
again.
but there
wasn't
was a
working
side
2
of me,
jobs.
You're doing it
huh?
what?
When you're doing
When
it
you
by yourself.
Did y'all hear that? I'm sorry. I just wanted her to repeat that because everything that I just told y'all that she accomplished, she did it. When I tell y'all that I
Most of the
get
people doing
so
negatively with hustle
inspired
culture is
by
not
my
educating people
baby
properly on the
cousin,
highs and the very lows
I
of
get
hustling on your and owning
so
your own.
inspired
That's
by
very
her
true.
because I did
Oh,
it and I
okay.
had
So he wasn't
this
working very
dude
much.
who can build.
What I see, yeah. So
My husband can build a
I think,
freaking.
but
I said I want
a
to
big
dance
part
room.
of
He went
hustle
and built
culture
it
is
for me.
selling
You
the
know what I mean?
lie,
Like
right? You have to sell the lie.
she
You have
did
to
this
sell
on her
this
own, man.
idea
You know what I
that
mean? Like
you know
yeah, go ahead.
you're just going to be
Thank you,
successful
but
if you follow my 3-step
but
program,
yeah, I
you're
mean,
going to
like
be
I think
successful.
like
You know.
how it felt,
You
it
need me
was
to remove the
just
troll? No,
exhausting. But to
no.
your point,
Leave them.
like
They're probably not even here anymore.
it
The
is a
odds are, if they're a
practice,
true
right?
troll, they came here to just
Going
say
back to
something
what you were
mean
saying
and went
about
on
being
because
happy
it was
where
6
you
people
are, and I was paying
and now it's
attention
5
to
people. So they're
like
probably not
the
even here
YouTube
anymore. And
chat,
if
and
they
there was like
are,
some good
I don't care.
questions and conversation
Because like I
going
said,
on
my
in
whole thing
there
was
about like
I'm going to
just
inquire
figuring
about
out
why
like
you felt the
what
need
works
to
for
come here
you,
and just
whether
say
it's how
I'm
much
richer than
money
your
you
whole
make, what
family.
type of
Like,
life you want to live, and
you
it's that,
know,
and if
like
that's where you are, then it's up to you, you know, to
it's
decide
so
if you want to
funny
be
because
happy.
it's like, you know, you
So
say things
it's
like that,
definitely
and that's
like
the whole
a lot
point of what
a
we're
lot of
against here. We're not
mental work
that
goes
goes
into
against
it
the
because
environment that we
you do
promote
have to
here on
constantly.
the stream,
We
and the
already know
environment
this.
on the
It is a
channel, and the
constant
environment that
battle.
I
You
want
know, we
us to
talked about
promote as a
the
community
culture and the
of
constant
togetherness.
like
When you are a person
external
like that, when you're that kind of person
things
who
that can affect your
just
mind.
gets a
So
kick out of
like
just
a couple of
running
things
around
that
and
you
saying
said, I know I'm
I'm
kind of
richer than
going
you,
off, but a
like,
couple of things that
then
you
to me you're
said,
not a very good person. You know,
sparked
like
something in
so.
me where I was
I
thinking
think
like
maybe their
FOMO. There's
goal
the
was to probably
fear
hurt somebody's
of
feelings,
missing out. And
and
so
then they
when
didn't
you
even
mentioned
spell
something
family,
like,
correctly.
oh,
So,
I'm making
I,
two
you
two
know,
point five million dollars.
if
Like,
you're
what are you
rich,
doing?
take a
Or like,
English grammar
why aren't
class.
you
Like,
doing
I
this?
don't know,
And the
you know what I
person
mean?
who is
Like, do
seeing
better.
that, they're
Just do
probably
better.
thinking the same way, or they're thinking
Did you see my text? I
there
saw
is
it, but
a
I didn't read
life
it
that
yet.
I could be living, but I'm not, and I'm missing out on that.
He was broke
So it's
bougie.
like,
I know a
because
lot of
when you
broke
have your
bougie.
life, you're
He's
like,
likely
oh,
a
I feel
child.
good, you know,
I
I got
doubt
my
it,
house.
honestly, Nessa.
But there's
I honestly
always
doubt it.
something
I feel like
better.
they're probably a
So at
grown
some
adult
point in time, the question is going
and
to
get a
cross your
kick out of
mind.
just
Why
saying
don't
negative
you have
things.
more?
Just a grown adult. I feel
Because
like a lot of
like
trolls are just grown ups,
even with
just
my
straight
cars,
bitter,
I
mean
can
people.
say, well, they're not
And we
2022.
don't do that
You know what
here.
I'm saying? Like there's always
Like,
something
I
better.
don't
There's
mind
always
disagreeing
something
with
more
somebody
that
on the
keeps
stream.
you
I had that
happy.
person in the
And I
last
think
stream,
that
Sunny, who
concept
was
of FOMO
they're
plays a lot
going hardcore
into
Christian in the
the
chat, and
hustle
I don't want
culture
them removed. I
because
want them
I
here
mean
to
I'll
say
get
what
caught
they
up
feel
like,
like they
dang,
gotta
see,
say.
Shelby,
But
people out
you're
here
going to
making
get
10 grand
pushback from me.
for
You
leaving
know,
reviews on the
I'm not
app.
just gonna
Like
let you
like
say
well,
what you want to
I'm in the
say and
wrong
then
lane.
not
Like I've
address
heard
it.
so many people say that, like, oh, I got the wrong job. You know, like you can
Okay.
just go over here and do this, like, oh, I'm doing something wrong.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
that's like some people say it as a joke, but some people are like really like, oh, you mean to tell me I'm over here working my fingers to the bone when I could just be sitting up on the internet on TikTok copying dances and making bread? Like I'm not doing that anymore.
Yeah.
So I think that plays into it. And then back to like going back to what we were saying about like being happy where you are. I think for me back then it was definitely like a constant battle, but now it's like what they were talking about in the chat, like it's a decision. Like you have to make a decision on what you want your life to look like, and you have to stand in that and be okay with that. Just like you were saying, like, you know what? I have this house. It's not a mansion, but you know, I don't care because it's fine by me. And it doesn't matter if somebody comes up and has a bigger house with a pool and all this land and stuff like that. It looks great. And I think that moment where you see what you have and you see what somebody else has, that's where the work needs to be done to say, you know what? That's cool, but I'm good with what I have. And I think that is like the hardest part because even when you told the story, that was a story of elevation, meaning I wasn't satisfied with where I was because I kept going. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you you are okay with it, but at the end of the day, you still want more. Like you still want to progress. You still want to move forward and see what you can get out of this life. And I think the fact that we want to explore and we want to accomplish, and we want to see, do, plays a role into us wanting to exert effort in getting. So I
I
think
think
it's like we're effed up, man. We just
yeah, we're everywhere. I think that
so
hi Vimby. Vimby Vims is on here. IA is on here. So I wanted to I want to say in Daquan, I think that I went to my son or my youngest baby. He received an award today. He came in first place in IT. What was it? Cybersecurity award. So he's
Hmm.
going to the States. So we went to his award show this morning, and the dean of the school, of the tech program of the tech school, trade school, he said he was like, I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. He was like, I had a master's degree, I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. He said, he said, at first I was in school to be a physical therapist. He was like, I was in a room of 600 people and they said, we're picking 30. He was like, I wasn't one of them. What do I do?
What's funny
He
is
said,
that
I didn't know what I
some
wanted to do. I
days
did this,
you
I
have to
did
make
that.
decisions
And I thought
too.
that was such a powerful moment for
What do
him
you
to
mean,
say that.
Jessica?
You know what I mean? Trying to find self. Where do I belong? Where am I? Who
One
am
thing I
I?
know
What do
100%
I
about
want to
them is they would
do?
never say it
You
to
know
your
what I mean?
face.
And then he
I
was like,
mean, even if they did,
said,
Nessa, they would
I wanted
probably
to
get
teach.
the
And then he said he went
same
to high school.
like
He didn't like it.
response. Like,
And then he said
okay,
when he went to the tech school, he was like, I
like
think I
that would
can
be the
kind of
funniest thing, is
figure.
because they would
You know what I
probably
mean?
think that they
So
would get some sort of
sometimes it's
rise out of
weird
me, like,
because
would
in
you
life,
say you
sometimes you
richer
just
than me?
kind of
Like, I'd be
drop
like,
into a
okay.
hole.
You
fit
probably
here. You know
are.
what I
I don't
mean?
care.
But until then,
And
you
my
gotta
response
try
will
to be
probably be like,
okay
okay, are you
with
happier
until
than
you
me though?
find the
Because I'm
hole
very
that you
happy.
drop into. Which
Like,
unfortunately, some
oh yeah, I'm
people
happy as
never
hell.
really
I'm happy
find
because
that
I'm rich.
hole.
Well, then you're
That's
not
why my
happy.
hustles have to be
Because
fulfilling, right? I have
I'm
to
going
be
to be happy
fulfilled by my
regardless if
hustles.
I'm rich or not.
So go
I would just
into
be
what you said
happier
by
if I was rich and able to afford
being
things that I want
being
and
you
like.
know, being
But I'm going to be
uncomfortable.
happy
You
regardless
said
if
you were
I'm rich or
unhappy
not.
sometimes
And
and
so if somebody is
uncomfortable
that
when
kind
you
of
were on
person where
that
they feel like they
journey.
have to
Aren't all
flex
journeys kind of
being richer
uncomfortable,
than you
especially
in
if
your
they're long?
face, you know,
You got to get
or
out, you
say
got to
things like
rest your
that,
legs.
you
You know what
know,
I mean? You got to roll down
um,
the window because you're getting
then
tired. You're
you're not
nodding off
happy.
behind the wheel.
And
You know
so
what
at the end of the
I
day, you
mean?
saying something like
Like,
that
you got to
Yeah.
pull over, you got to
doesn't
pee, you
phase
got
me,
to,
and
you
it
know what I
never
mean?
can.
So
Because
you
I don't
on a
care.
journey, you know,
I'm not the kind of
it
person
it
who's
might
too
be
insecure to where
uncomfortable.
it's
It
like
might be
I
cramped. It
recognize
may be,
that
you know, you got
I've
to
been
keep
broke
pulling
and
over and
I'm
getting
still going to be
gas. You
broke
got
for
to,
a
you know
little
what I
while.
mean? Your
Like,
car might
and I
break
live off of
down.
my student
So
aid.
that's your
And,
life
you know,
journey. It's the
until I get
same
my
type of
degree and
thing.
get
You're
a
going
good
to be
paying job,
uncomfortable. You're
I'm
going to be
going to
tired. You're going
struggle.
to run out of
That's
gas.
a
You know what I
reality for
mean?
me. But once
So
I
I
get to
think
my ideal
just
career
being
goal,
happy with
I'm gonna be
where you're
happy. Like I'm
going
gonna be happy with the
is
amount I'm making,
really
you know?
key. I like what you said, Candace,
Like, do
about
you feel
what your
better now? Would you
YouTube
like a cookie?
viewers
I
were
know, right?
saying
You
as
make
far
money.
as
Let me get you a sugar
making
cookie.
a
Well, go
plan
buy
of
you a
what
sugar
does
cookie since you're
happiness look
rich.
like to you.
Like,
Where do you want to
the rich in
go?
life will always be
I
more
think
important.
you know how we
Exactly.
make
Like Bob
budgets
Marley said, you know, the
of
amount of money
okay, I
that you
can
make
spend
can
this much
never,
on
you know, make you
food, I
rich.
can
You know, if
spend
you're
this much.
rich
Why don't
in
we make a
life,
life
you're
budget?
gonna be richer than the richest
This is
man in
what
the
I
world.
want.
You
You
know?
know what I mean? This is what I
So
want my life to look
I
like.
never
I know
never
that
felt like I
the
had to
girl that I
have
was telling
millions
you
and
about, the
millions of
case
dollars because
manager,
I don't even know. I
who
can't even
told me that
fathom
she
what I
had to
would do with
moonlight
millions and millions of dollars.
as
Like,
a
I
bartender.
would literally just
She
go and
said
try to
that in
change communities
school,
and open
she
up
wishes
schools
that they
and,
had a
you know, like
program that
LeBron. Like
said,
LeBron is open,
hey,
you know, he opened up
if
that
this is
school.
how
Like
you want to live
I
with
would
this
be
car
trying
and
to
this kind of
change
house,
entire
this
communities
is the
and give
job you need.
opportunities to people.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like
She said
open up
that would have
businesses and things
been
like that. So like
such an
if I had
amazing
millions and millions of
program.
dollars, I
She
would do
said, I
that.
had no
But
idea
I don't really
that I
need
had
all
to
that
have
for
this
just
type of
me.
job to
Like
live this type of lifestyle.
I don't know, just never resonated
She
with
said
me.
that
I get
somebody
high on
needs to
life.
teach people,
I wouldn't
hey,
want
if you
millions.
want
That's
to live in this
true. I
house
feel
and
like
you
it would
want
be
to
a lot
drive
of
this
pressure
car,
coming with millions
this is
because I will
probably
always
you
be
need to
scared
go
of
to school
losing
for
it.
this. You know what I
Like
mean?
that
Yeah.
pressure will
Well,
always hit
yeah.
me
You
like, yo,
probably
like
want
I
to
can
live
make
in
one
this
wrong
neighborhood
move and
with
then my
this type
millions
of
is
car,
gone.
and you
That
gotta be
anxiety
okay
would
with
drive
where
me
you're at.
crazy.
You know what I mean? Or it's where I said, where you get your 3 side hustles or your 2 side hustles. You give yourself you say, hey, I'm
Look,
going
all
to
I've
make
been thinking about,
five to
buy me
$7,000 on each one of these hustles.
baby.
Save
You
that
know
up
we
and
got
buy
that.
your car straight out. You know
Bye.
what I
Yeah,
mean?
you
Just
already
being
know.
happy where you are on the drive, knowing that it's going to be uncomfortable. Make a
You
plan,
already
just like
know.
we have to have a map or a
Until they
GPS to
catch
get to where we're going. Why
Look
don't
at
we
me.
use
Yeah,
a
yeah.
GPS
Look at
or a
me.
map and try to
Look at
plan
me.
out our
Come on
route in our
now. You already
life
know
to
y'all know what the
where
deal
we
is.
want to be? Because I
Yeah.
Bigger
think
house is
I gotta
lonely,
go
just
back
more
like
stuff you gotta clean. That's true.
You know, I'm about a plan.
I don't really want
You know,
no huge
hold
house all
on.
like that.
You know, I'm about a plan. I
Ooh, I like
plan
that.
myself.
I like that book.
Yeah, it's
gotta
my
have a
planner.
plan. And it's
um,
beautiful.
Thank you. Somebody mentioned this is on Daquan's page, but Jessica said that what she sees people doing negatively with hustle culture is not educating people in the very lows of hustling on your own, which is what both of y'all have mentioned
Hmm.
before. Like that could lead into the whole misleading
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Um, so what dang, I just
What did she say? I'm sorry.
oh she said what she sees people doing negatively with hustle culture is not educating people properly on the highs and the very lows of hustling. Sorry, hustling and
Okay,
owning
the
your own.
highs and lows,
Yeah,
the
Yeah.
highs and lows of hustling.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah. Which
pros and
goes
cons.
in, yeah, which go, Leah, like you said, the pros and cons. And I like how you said like it is every journey, and the the part, yeah, I think it does just go back to knowing what you want to do and where you want to be.
And
And
where can you comfortably be?
unfortunately, yes, and not letting, oh, that's what I was going to say. Not
Kurt,
that, can you hear me?
Hmm.
yeah.
Oh, so I have this, I use this app. It's called Fabulous, and it's like a productivity tracker. But they have, I shared some of this stuff with y'all, or like some of the little daily meditations or whatever quotes. But anyway, their mantra is tiny steps repeated regularly over time. is the way that you get to where you want to go. And so I think like with the hustle culture, like we talked about with FOMO and comparison and everything like that, I also think a sense of like get rich quick is in there too. Like it's not only, hey, here's
Yes.
another
Oh,
way
it's
for you to
so
make money,
annoying.
but it's, hey, happen in a week, in a month. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like there's an
Yes.
expectation that it's going to
Yes.
happen quickly,
Yes.
which
Yes.
when it
Yes.
doesn't, you fall back off. Now you've wasted your money when really if you like you were saying, like, look, just set realistic goals. Maybe your business or whatever your hustle isn't going to blow up in a year, but if you stay consistent and try to get one customer every month or however you want to break it down, just focus on small steps that you can repeat and you can stay consistent with, eventually you will get to where you want to go. Which is why, Daquan, I asked you that question earlier, like, is it really a lie? Because I do believe the process of, if you stay consistent with things and if you work on it, like eventually something will happen. But I also understand,
Something.
like, I
Something.
also
But
understand
it
what,
may not.
right,
But it may
something, but it may not be what you thought it was going to be.
I
may
do I
not
do
be at
agree.
2.5
I do
million.
agree with that. But that's why I myself acknowledge that, I do work hard because I recognize that so like my hard work is typically with being like studious. I am I'm I study all day. I'm doing homework, typing on my computer. Like I'll be on the phone with mom, and all she hears is clickety click 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 because I'm
And
typing
I'll
a
be like,
paper.
I'm getting off the phone now.
Yeah, cause and she'll be like, so what would you do with today? And I click 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 click, huh? Like, and so like sometimes it's nice to have somebody there to talk to, but like I will zone out, I will get lost, and I'll because that's my hard work, that's my crack. I'm on it, and when I'm not
But
on
you,
it, I'm recognizing I should probably be on it because I have it ingrained in my brain that if I work hard enough, I will make honors college. I will graduate with honors. I'll be able to get a good
but you
job.
are
I'll
in
get
honors
recognized.
college.
But
So
that's the
your hard
thing.
work did pay
I
off.
believe it because I've done it. You know, I believe in the things that I
He's in
can
honors college, guys.
I believe in the things that are tangible for me.
You
So
got
I
4.0.
don't thank you. So
You got a 4.0.
I believe in the things that I feel are tangible. That I
Wait a
can
minute. Hold
see.
on. Hold on.
Mm?
We're not going to just kind of gloss past the fact that you are a young man of color in college who's in honors college who just busted out a 4.0. We're not going to gloss
I,
over that. That's what we're
I
not
do be
going to
glossing
do.
over. I be trying to like okay.
4.0.
Yay.
4.0. 4.0.
But so my thing is that like I recognize that I only achieved so that was one of my goals. So it started small. It started with I want to get good grades. It started
A
that
small
small.
goal.
I was like so I ended up with like a 3.5. And I was like, you know what? Now I want to make the dean's list. Got a 3.9. I was like, now I want to be 4.0. I want to be straight A's, nothing but that. Boom, got that.
That's
Now
right.
I want to be in honors college. I'm in honors college
That's
now.
right.
Now I want to graduate with honors. Once I graduate with honors, I want to go back. I want to get multiple degrees. Then after that, I want to get a good job in the field that I have studied to be the best representative I can be at my job. So it's small goals that I've set, but they are tangible according to the position that I'm at. I didn't go and I wasn't struggling in school and flunking out of college saying I want to be a 4.0 student. I went from flunking out of college to establishing goals to myself that were tangible for me. And I think that was the way that I took hustle culture and I manipulated to work for me. I didn't use other people, and knowing that my sister Jasmine graduated from OSU with great grades and my sister Taye scored way higher than me on the ACT. I didn't look at that and be like, "Dang, like I'm messing up out here." It did affect me, but it was like these things don't gonna work for me. And I noticed that they can do things that I might not be able to. Some people can go to school and work 40 hours a week and get 4.0. I can't do that. I can work part-time and focus and do that, but my brain won't operate that way. So some people are able to do things. That's why I say the definition of hard work is different. I'm able to go to work, then come home, do my schoolwork, and then go to the gym. But some people are like, I can't do that. You know what I mean? So
Like that.
it's always different for everybody. So that leads me into a question for y'all, because I just wanted to explain a little bit about what hustle culture does mean. The fact that I myself do not want to be a hypocrite and say everybody's wrong because y'all do this with hustle culture and that. I'm in it too. I'm in it too, and I'm bad on myself about it. You know.
Hold on.
Um,
Before you ask that question, before I forget, I want to say everybody's money ain't everybody's money. And what I mean by that is I wanted to piggyback off of what you just said, Daquan. Everybody's hustle looks different.
Yeah.
So when you see this app, you see this app, I just made $25,000 just now. Just now. You know what I mean?
Oh.
Like
the app now is, you see this app? I just won $25,000 betting on the Cowboys. That's the apps now. I bet on the Cowboys. Deke Elliott, he did it. Like that's what it is now.
everybody's money is not everybody's money.
Yes.
And what I mean, that's what I said. People be like, teach me how to flip houses. My money might not be your money. You know what I mean? And that's what I was saying earlier, Daquan, when I was saying, if somebody stepped to me right now, I'll give you the greatest example. There's a girl that I know right now. She's a millionaire, multi-millionaire, and she does home health agencies. She does MRDD. She's got it going on, and she came from scratch. So she was on ADC.
How was
She
the
was a
vibe
public
dance
assistant,
practice, sir? It
and
was
now she's a
fun,
multi-millionaire.
Jisoo. I had such a
applaud
fun
her.
time. I
Let's
didn't end up
go,
getting off
sis.
stream until
Let's
midnight.
go. That's not my money.
I did
I
not
don't
like.
wanna
I was not supposed to
That's
be on
not
past like
something that I wanna
10:30,
own and
but I was
operate. Her
practicing
money
for
ain't my
how
money.
long
I
were we
don't
doing
wanna
the
do what
vibe
she
practice? Were we
did
doing it for 2
because
hours?
I
Longer than 2
I
hours?
don't
We
want
were on.
that
We were
smoke.
practicing for at least 2
You know
hours.
what I mean? Like,
So we were just
I'm
practicing,
proud of
running through it
you,
over and over and
but
over and over and
that's
over again.
her money. That's her
Right, I gotta see
journey.
that move
That
over and
was
over again.
her
So
trip.
really,
That
I'm
was
like,
what was in
yeah.
her GPS.
I was feeling
You know what
pretty
I
good
mean?
about it
That's
though.
not
Like
my
we ended
GPS.
up
I'd rather
nailing it
stay
and
in
getting
my
it to where
income bracket.
I'm like, I know
You
the
know what I
steps now.
mean?
Like I
And
know the
not
steps, and
have
I'm very
that
happy about it.
that
Still don't know what I want
hustle
for my
culture
life. I
of,
know I don't
oh
want
my
to
God,
disappoint
I
my
know how
parents.
she made
Well,
a
that's
million.
good though,
I gotta
Jisoo.
go
I know
do
I
it.
don't
You
want to
know what I
disappoint my
mean?
parents
Like,
either.
Yep.
You know.
everybody's money ain't
But I'm very
everybody's money.
thankful
So
for my
like what
parents because my
Daquan was
parents
saying,
always tell
you know
me
what I
that they're
mean?
very
I
thankful for
can't
me
do
and
what
that they're
Taye
proud
did.
of
I
me
can't do
no
what
matter what I
Jasmine
do.
did.
You
Even
know.
his cousin Darian and Aisha, they're both nurse
Yeah.
practitioners.
Yep.
And I tried to get him to go into the medical field, and he was like, and I'm like, because it's a secure job, you will be a male nurse practitioner, you're
Mhm.
gonna make bank. He was like, I don't want to do it, Mom.
And guess what I
Their
did?
money,
I failed.
their money was not his money. You know what I mean? So and then I remember we flipped a house. We went, and I'm sorry, Daquan, for cutting you off. Don't forget
No,
the
you're
question
fine.
that you
I've been
asked.
thinking about the question for a little while because I know that it's gonna lead us to wrap up. So
Yeah,
it's
because it's
you know
8:45. We're gonna wrap up at 9. So what I wanted to say was, Candace, check this out. So Daquan had a house. Daquan, we flipped a house, and it was a smaller house. It was, what was it, Daquan? It was 3 bedrooms, but it was like a
yes,
ranch.
it was 3 bedrooms. It was smaller. It was had a fence around it. You walked up the steps to get
Had a
into
nice
it.
yard,
Very nice
and it
yard.
had a basement. It wasn't
Mhm.
finished. It was pretty
Uh,
much a ranch.
it was the basement where I painted the entire basement.
You
We
painted
painted
the
the
floor.
deck.
Yes,
No, that
you
was that
painted
the
the
same house
deck.
where we painted the
That's
deck.
the same house.
Okay,
That's
so
the
we
same
painted
house
the deck.
because
I painted the basement. I painted up the steps. I painted the
yes,
walls, and
yes, yes.
and so that I pretty much did the whole basement and the deck while they were doing the inside of the house.
Yes, but you
And
painted the inside
I
too.
did paint the inside of
So
the house,
this
but
was
they were
this was
doing
totally
other
family
stuff like
business.
that.
Wow.
But the thing about it is, he said, "This is all I need right here."
Yeah, I really like that house.
He said,
It was
"This
so
is all I need."
cozy. It was so cozy. It was so comfortable. You walked in
And I
and
think
it,
we
it
sold
felt
the house for
homey.
like one. I think we sold it for
Mm.
like 139. You couldn't buy it now for 139.
No.
If we had the house now, it'd have been 209.
Yeah.
But I think we sold it for like 139.
Yeah,
Um,
Jisoo, it's okay
and he was just like, "This is
you know,
enough
not
for
know
me."
what you want to do with
So
your
he
life.
would
A
be
lot of
okay with
people
where
around my
he's
age bracket
at.
don't know what they want to
You know
do.
what I mean?
I'm
Mhm.
He didn't
27
say, "Hey,
and
I
I
want a
just
house like
found out what I
Mom
wanted to
Pop."
do with my life.
Now, he
Like at
did
like
say that he wants
26,
epoxy
25.
everything. He said he epoxy the whole
Epoxy me right now. Epoxy me. I'm gonna be epoxy man.
But he didn't say I need $1 million house. And let me tell you
It's
something
just gonna
else,
look like
Candace.
it.
This dude had a BMW. He had a
Mercedes.
BMW coming out of high school, and then he had, but he used to save up. He worked. They was working since 15, and then he went and bought a Solstice. He wanted a
Yes.
Solstice so
A
bad.
Solstice.
He went
Yeah.
out and bought a Solstice on his own.
Got a good deal on it too.
So he bought this Solstice. You know what he did, girl? He sold the Solstice to get an HHR. You know why? Because he said it was more practical and it was better on gas.
It was good on gas.
So that's what I'm saying. He's okay with being where he's at. He don't need the BMW. Was like, I had the BMW. It was cool.
No,
You
it
know
was
what
a
I mean?
Mercedes. It was a Mercedes, ma. Remember
Mercedes. It
the
was a Mercedes,
SLK?
the
Yep.
regular Mercedes.
Mm-hmm.
Shut up, Candace.
You know I don't like BMWs.
But when we talking about this, people will be like, they're saying this stuff like it's nothing. We own a dealership, so we get deals. You know what I mean? Like these cars a lot of times are wrecked and he fixes them. Him and his dad fix them. You know what I mean? So
You know what's interesting
it's
about
not
that,
like
ma?
he was balling. No, these cars are we're there at auctions getting the best deals.
You
So,
know what's interesting
know,
about that, ma, is that I paid the same price for my Mercedes as I did for my Solstice. So I had the Mercedes for a year and a half, paid $4,000 for it, $4,200. I sold it for $4,200, and so I kept it, had it, enjoyed it, rolled around in it, dropped the top, loved it, painted it. I had it. I experienced the car, and then I leveled up to the next car that was, my dream car at the time, and I paid $4,500 for that. So it was just me turning that money into the next car, and then what happened after I enjoyed it and had it and it was time to move on to the next chapter, it was like when I'm moving on and I'm going to be traveling a lot, I can't keep putting all these miles on this Solstice. I want somebody else to have this car because I believe that somebody should appreciate this car and not run the wheels off of it like I'm going to. So let me get somebody, and the person who came out and bought it was an old man, and he was buying it for his wife. It was her dream car, and she loved it. And she was like, "It's got the body kit on it." Oh, like she loved it. So it felt good to give that to them because I'm like, yo, I'm gonna take this money and I'm a pocket like 1,000, 1,500, and I'm gonna buy this HHR and I'm gonna be rolling. You know what I mean? And but the thing about it was like, and that was my explanation to mom because we did have that conversation about how do you feel about downgrading this, but it was also the fact that it's like my next dream car, I'm gonna have to really buckle down to get that Lotus. It ain't something that I can just run up and 4 bands ain't gonna get me no Lotus. So I'm cool with just doing what I'm doing right now. There are things that I want, but it's like those are things that I feel like if I get them, and if I don't, it's all good.
Exactly.
So it's like I don't have to have them for me to be happy.
Yes, you're okay where you're at.
I'm cool. So it's like it's a weird balance, right? Because hustle culture for me, and this will lead right into my question for both of y'all, is hustle culture for me is like it's giving me a proper balance of knowing that I'm not happy necessarily being complacent because I still work hard to achieve things that I want and feel like are goals of mine, but there are things that I feel like if I don't, there's still goals on there that if I don't get, ain't gonna make me unhappy. I'm still happy, and I'm happy during my journey of attaining my goals. I'm not unhappy because I haven't gotten my goal yet. I'm happy. I'm happy during the journey. I'm happy while I'm going to it, and I'm gonna be happy when I get it, and happy getting the next one. So every time I take a step, I'm smiling while I'm walking. So it's something struggles. Yeah, and it's hard. It's hard and it's scary.
I wanted to be very clear on that. I wanted to be clear on that because he was asked a question by a friend of his. He said, are you upset that your parents let you struggle? And the fact that they don't have to, but they let you struggle. There's a difference between us letting our son struggle and letting him fall.
Yeah.
And believe he ain't gonna fall.
Yeah, they don't let me fall, but they do. Like, and that's the thing. That's the weird thing about it, like, is that it's like I know that I have a support system that I'm grateful for because a lot of people don't have the kind of support system that I have. Come on, stop being blurry now. There we go. Hi.
I want to bring that up as a different topic.
Yeah, it's because it's different. It's a different thing.
People say, white people usually send their kids to college and their kids don't have to struggle. You know what I mean? Like that's
Yeah.
they take out second mortgages and get second jobs to make
Yeah.
sure that their kids
One
get
of my
their kids
commenters is
paid
talking
for
about
college.
that. Yeah, one of my
Yes.
commenters, Jisoo, he's Jisoo, are you from Korea? I believe. And his family is well off, and while he's in school, not only are they, taking care of him, but they kind of breaking him off a little bit,
Mm.
But
But that's what
we
I'm
talk
saying.
about that,
So
and it's just the
I want to
differences.
bring that up as a different topic.
It is
because
definitely a
Candace,
different
you would
topic.
be able to input with that very, very much so.
Hmm.
I would love to hear your opinion on that, Candace.
Mhm.
And I'd like for Josh to be on that one too, since he
Hmm.
was the one who kind of said that. Because
Oh, well, okay. I couldn't remember who was
and
the one who said it.
I think that it's different with me because I feel like, especially with a man, and I don't want to get into this gender roles. I feel like a struggle makes you sharper. You know what I mean? It kind of makes you appreciate the end journey more if
Hmm.
there's a little struggle there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you're more proud when you get there because Daquan's went and given blood before. You know what I mean?
And I had a
He's like,
phobia of needles.
yeah, he went and
I
gave
had an
blood. He's
actual
just like,
phobia of
hey, I'm
needles.
gonna go get blood and get this couple extra $100.
Yeah.
Now if he says, "Hey mom, I need some food," use the Target card I gave you. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
Use the credit card I gave you. You know what I mean? Or here, I'm going to send you some money.
Yeah.
But I love the fact that he will make a way.
Yeah.
He will find a way to make it happen. And I feel like that's very imperative. But does that go against the hustle culture? Am I making him into a hustler? Because sometimes I feel like you have to for survival. You know what I mean? You gotta kind of know how to hustle.
But that ties back into what we talked about before, because part of your nature is that y'all grew up in a society that y'all had to survive rather than thrive. So that's where the difference comes from, where people from my generation like Josh will look at that and be like,
We just wanna live.
we just want to live. So it's like, but you like, I want to make sure that you can survive no matter what. You got to be able to do these things, because if I'm not here or if something bad happens, you got to be able to put your nose to the grindstone and
That's a
knuckle
very
up
powerful
and
important
get on
topic
it.
that we
So
discuss.
we will go. We've talked about that, but we will revisit that topic. So, but before we drone on too long, I do want to ask y'all both the question that this is my final question before we give our final thoughts. I do want to ask y'all. It's kind of an elaborate question, so hopefully it's not too much. Do y'all think that we need hustle culture? Like, do y'all feel like the pros of hustle culture outweigh the cons of hustle culture? And do you feel like it is needed in our society? Or, and like, where do you feel like we would be if we didn't have hustle culture? Do we feel like we'd be lazy? Do you feel like we'd be entitled, spoiled? So
Damn, that's a
it's
good
kind of like a
question.
3-part question, but it's all
Me and
encompassing.
Candace were like,
I
that's
didn't
a
want
good
to.
ass question.
That's kind of
What
why
about
I've been
you?
thinking about it for the last like 45 minutes, because I'm like, yo,
45 minutes.
that's why, like, I've had it in my head, because I knew, I'm like, it's such an elaborate question, and it's kind of so many parts, there's so many moving parts, that I want to ask y'all that when y'all have some time to really respond to it, because there's parts of it that you can respond to individually. So I'll ask it again if y'all need me to, because like I said, I know it's kind of all over the place. But yeah, so do y'all feel like we need hustle culture? Where do y'all feel like we would be if we didn't have hustle culture? And do you feel like the pros of hustle culture outweigh the cons of hustle culture?
I think that, gosh, that's hard. I think if we're not forced into a hustle, I think hustle culture without the mandate of hustle culture, without corporate America forcing us to be hustlers. I think hustling because we have no choice, because like I said, the medium average wage is 31,000.
Hmm.
The average wage in America is 31,000.
One of the
I
sacrifices
think
of
the
hustling,
hustle
for
culture
sure.
because of that is horrible. It's horrific. You know
Not
what I
gonna lie, I
mean?
was
But
worried for you for a bit. It made me
I
realize
think
something
that
very
that part
important.
of hustle
What,
culture
Nessa? What did it make you realize? I
is
know I'm behind
horrible.
on chat a little
You
bit.
know
I
what I
was trying to
mean?
ask that
It's
question.
horrible,
Doing my
and
own
it
business,
shouldn't
doing
be.
everything
We
myself
shouldn't
as far as
have to
building my own
hustle
website and
just
everything.
to
I
freaking
have
eat.
days when
You
I
know what I
have to
mean?
make decisions
Just
to
to,
pay my bills.
it's
The
like
time. That's so
the
true,
part of
Jessica.
hustling
That's so
in order
true.
just to be able to F and live is sickening. But
Sorry
hustle
for a bit. I
culture
had to get
within
back to the books. I
itself,
know Jisoo. I
the
know how it
hustle
is.
to the hustle without the ridicule,
Because my parents just
um,
tell me to do better,
the
even if I'm
hustle
top
because
five
you
in my
want
school,
to,
but it's
like you
not enough
said
for them.
earlier,
That's
Daquan,
true.
because
There's not
you
enough
don't want to
positive
be
reinforcement
you
on
don't
your
want to
end.
be stagnant because you desire to elevate.
Hmm.
And looking at the way that Candace hustled and the way that you are hustling now, Daquan, I think that Candace is the greatest example of hustling without, she had to at one point, but now she does it because she likes where she's going. She
Hello,
likes what
chick.
it feels
Hello.
like. She likes it now. So you get to,
I'm sorry.
something
Make it
came in my
sell
head. I'm just not
aromatherapy
gonna say it,
bath
but
products and
I
all natural,
think
no harsh chemicals such as
without
soaps,
the
bath oils.
mandate of it,
Oh
I
yeah.
think that hustle culture
The
is
Black Goddess. That's really
absolutely
cool, Jessica.
amazing,
I didn't know that.
and it could take you to
I did not know
amazing
that. That's
places
really
and make you
cool.
feel
You
in an
also make
amazing way.
candles.
But I also feel like it's extremely filled with anxiety
Yeah, I like
because I
that.
feel like I can't accomplish everything that I want
Japanese,
to
Korean.
in
Oh,
a
okay, cool, cool, cool.
lifetime.
I was close.
Um,
I was close.
and so yeah,
Mom speaks
I
on you. You
feel
must have a
like
job at all times. Dreams and wants
more
aren't important, which is why it took
yes
so long to
than
start a business.
no that
That's so unfortunate
hustle
because that
culture
is
is,
really big
there's
in
more
our
pros to
society.
it than cons. The fact that we are in a country that we can hustle the way that we can is definitely a pro. And the fact that I came from, public assistance to where we are, is a testament to hustle culture being a good thing. So
Hmm.
I'm going to say hustle culture for what it is, for the desire of hustling, is absolutely just fantastic.
Hmm.
But hustling because you have to eat is horrible.
Mm.
So that's my answer.
Okay. What about you, Candy?
Yeah, I started off one way, but now I'm rethinking it because
Was it
I'm
after you
thinking about,
heard mom's response or just you just
yeah.
rethought?
No, it was after Tasha's.
Oh, okay.
So because I was thinking about how we define hustle culture
Hmm.
in the beginning, and so what you just mentioned, Tasha, I think I'm having a difficult time separating hustle culture from like work. For instance, like you said, we shouldn't have to hustle to survive. Absolutely. I guess to answer the question, I don't think we need hustle culture. I think where we would be if we didn't have it, we would be, and the pros don't outweigh the cons. And
Mm.
this is why I say
Okay.
that. Because when I think of hustle culture, like we said, I associate that with exhaustion and stress and like urgency and maybe not desperation, but just like a
No,
deep desire
desperation
to make a
is
change
great.
quick. You know what I'm saying? Like something has to happen now. And none of that sounds like something that we need. So so when I think about working, right? Like you have to work to survive. There's no getting around that.
Yeah.
But so that's where I'm like, okay, Tasha, yes. So I'm thinking if we took out hustle culture and we just had a world where we just worked, why what would be wrong with that? Like if we, and I know it would take a whole lot, of course,
Mhm.
like the corporations and the pay and
Mhm. Mhm.
capitalism and all of that stuff. But I'm just saying in a world, because to me hustle culture and capitalism go hand in hand.
They do. They do.
To me, in a world where that doesn't exist and there isn't a pressure um to work so much for something, we would rely on what we naturally want because we
Mm,
wouldn't have a hustle culture to influence that.
Right.
that's a
So it
great
would
answer.
literally come from what, I mean, we're always influenced by our, environment, but
Mhm.
it would come from just, oh, I want to go work. Because I saw a post today and it said, would you flip burgers for $350,000 a year?
Yes.
Hell yeah.
Yes. And so they was like, oh, you would? Okay. So it's not that people don't want to work, it's the pay.
Right.
And so and so I thought about that. I'm like, okay, so if we didn't have hustle culture, it's not that people wouldn't work. We want something to do. We like to be active. It's just how we want to work. I want to work, but if I had to choose between working like dancing all day and that's my job or doing something else, I would choose the dancing. You know what I'm saying? But it's still work. You're
Hmm.
still active. You're still being productive. You're still doing things, but it's not so, conflated in all of these other responsibilities and pressures and ideas. It's literally just what you want to do to survive. To
That's
me, that
true.
sounds like a fairy
Hmm.
tale world, but that's my
No,
answer.
I
Like
think that
I
it was.
feel like
I think it was an amazing answer, Daquan. I'm not going to hold it up because I know that we're ending right now, and I want your
No, you're
answer.
fine. You're fine. I did want to piggyback off of something that Candy did
That she
say.
said, but I
Um,
want to piggyback
I
really
figured you
quick.
probably did want to as well, because she did
No,
make
mine
very
is
good points.
really, believe it or not, mine is really quick. Candace, I think that what your point is, and I have to. Daquan often tells me everybody doesn't think like you because
Hmm.
you know what I mean, and so I always love for my mind to be challenged. I love these dialogues because I like to shift. I like to learn. I like to grow. I like to see different perspectives and feel different perspectives. And sometimes, like Daquan told me earlier, I often forget that I don't have a job and I haven't punched a time clock in a long time. So your answer, so someone who punches a time clock is going to be totally different than mine when it comes to what hustle looks like,
Hmm.
right? So
Mhm.
your hustle is, and a lot of people's hustle is their 9 to 5. So that was an excellent point, Candace, because it's just like most people's hustle is their job, which is to live. You
Yes.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was an excellent, excellent point that I didn't think of because, duh, you know what I mean? I'm just like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. Because I'm like, you got to eat if you don't hustle. And you're like, yeah, that's called a job.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's the different perspectives.
Yes.
Yeah, I
Which
love
that
that.
I,
Thank
I
you so
really
much
I
for
really
saying
like
that.
both of y'all's answers. Like I really do, because I had an idea how mom would feel, because I know how she feels about hustling, and I know how she feels and how she admires people who hustle and who are transparent about their hustle, and about their grind and their story. And I am too. I think we all love and appreciate somebody who is open about their struggles and their grind and
Ups
their
and
hard
downs.
work, their ups and downs of their success that they've achieved. But something I did want to touch on with what you said, Candy, is like a big part of why I personally feel like I don't think we need hustle culture, nor do I feel like the pros outweigh the cons, is because I think that as most things that humans get, that's a good thing. Because I do think hustle culture is a good thing. It could have been a good thing, but we suck so hard that we can't ever have nice
Let it
things.
be.
You know what I mean? Like we can't have nothing. We couldn't just enjoy being like, hey man, I see you working hard. I like that. I'm rocking with you. A matter of fact, you inspire me to work a little bit harder so I can get some extra pay. No, it's, oh, you got a nice car. I gotta get a nicer car and go into debt because I hate that. You know what I mean? But the real thing that I really want to touch on about something that you said about the work, right, is a big part of hustle culture that is so damaging for us is because we have to get some sort of fulfillment out of the work that we're doing.
Mm,
Whether
yeah.
it is financial fulfillment, uh, or emotional, fulfillment. And if we're doing a job that we hate, but we're getting paid enough, we're at least getting fulfilled financially, so we don't have to worry about if we're going to be able to put food on the table. But for a lot of us
Mhm.
living right now, we are doing jobs that are both financially unfulfilling and mentally abusive. You know what I mean? So
Damn.
Mm,
we are
Damn.
not getting no fulfillment. We aren't getting the
wow.
Damn.
pay we deserve, and we are not getting any kind of emotional fulfillment or recognition from the jobs we're doing. And not only are
Mm.
we not getting none of the fulfillment that we require from jobs, which is making us depressed, we are being shamed
Damn.
about being depressed, about not enjoying the lack of fulfillment at our jobs. You know,
Damn.
so
Wow.
that's
Woo.
what we did with hustle
And
culture.
the income that they paying you.
Right. So
Yeah.
it's that is why we can't have nice things, and that's why I say, like, I want to touch off that, because it goes right into why I feel like if it, since we don't know how to appreciate what hustling can do and how it can benefit us and
Ooh.
how we can achieve greater by hustling, you know, we shouldn't have it. You know, like most nice things, if we don't know how to handle it and we don't know how to do good by it, we don't deserve it. You know what I mean? So that's why I asked y'all that question, because I already kind of had my mind made up, but I was curious to see after this conversation where both of your heads would be at the end of it,
Mm,
you know. But yeah,
Okay.
so
mm.
that's pretty much my final
I
thoughts about
feel
it. If y'all have
bad.
any final thoughts, go ahead. No, because do you feel after hearing our perspectives on this, Ma? Do you feel do you feel any sort of change on your initial answer to my questions, or do you still stand by what you feel, which is perfectly reasonable? But do you feel like you have a little more understanding of where we're coming from when we say that?
Okay, so I want to listen.
And
Okay,
give your final
so
thoughts while you're doing it.
thank you everybody so much for joining us. This has been because I was like, I don't know where we're going with this, but I actually
Yeah.
loved where we took
Yeah.
it. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
loved where we took it. It was like a journey. It was almost like therapeutic to talk about this. You know what I mean? It
Mhm.
was like
Yeah, this was
it
great.
it the topic meant something. I feel lifted. I feel good after discussing this, especially since we all had kind of varying opinions on it. You know what I mean? Like, and I loved it. So I still feel the same. Um, but with Candace, what you said about would you flip
There's
burgers
always
for three hundred
positive
and
and
fifty
negative to
thousand
everything.
dollars? I
Absolutely.
would for
Yin
a
and
year,
yang. You know,
and then
Jisoo.
I would
Like I'm
take
a
that
big
money and
believer
then I
in
would
yin and
go
yang. It's
hustle.
balance. You're ignorant.
Born to hustle.
Right.
And so listen,
That's
did you hear that,
ignorant.
Daquan?
What'd you say?
Did you hear what I said?
What'd you say?
I
Let
told
me hear it.
Candace because remember she said that there was would you flip burgers for 350,000? We were
Hmm.
saying it's not the money, it's what you do, right?
Right, right.
And so I said I would flip the burgers for 350,000 for 1 year. I would quit and then I would go hustle with it.
But that's because you aren't fulfilled by flipping burgers. You would take that money that you made and you would go do something that, because that job was financially fulfilling, and you will go do something that is mentally and emotionally fulfilling for you with the money that you did. So that hustle is what I'm advocating for, but we can't have that. The whole premise
Yeah.
behind that is us getting paid so we can be financially fulfilled by our jobs, but we don't have that. So that's why it's a no-go. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? The whole
I
premise
agree.
is no.
I, w- I want to say that I'm very I've been very blessed by the universe to but the way that we've come to be where we are
I learned a lot.
is
Thank you. I'm
through our
still a little
hustle
confused,
and
but
through
I
our
understand a little bit
grind
more.
and
Well,
through
Jisoo, if you
our
have any questions
desire
about
to
what
do
we were
more
talking
and
about
be
today,
more and
please
make
feel free to
more.
ask those
And
questions
we
in the
wanted to
chat,
make more
and I'll
just so
try
we
to
could
elaborate a
we
little
wanted to
further on them.
buy our
Sometimes it's
own
a little
home and
hard
we
to go
wanted to
back and
pay
forth
our own
between
home
chat
off. We
and
wanted to own
my
our
discussion
cars. We
with
didn't want
them.
to make car
So if I
payments
feel if
because we want to
I wasn't
have
able
the
to
least
fully
amount of
thoroughly
bills that we
reply to something
possibly
that you
can
had a question
so then
about,
that way
then
we
feel
don't
free
have
to
to
ask
hustle and
questions.
grind as
Like
much.
I
So
implore
that's why
you
we
to
hustle and
ask
grind
questions
it and
so
so much
I
so
can
we can
give you
have
my
everything
perspective
paid
on
off
them.
so we can have zero debt, no credit cards. You know what I mean? Like we wanted our debt to be low. So I want to be very careful of how I speak because we are very fortunate, but we are fortunate. The universe made it possible because of our hard work, and so I feel kind of sucky and pissy, but I just because I feel I don't want to sound entitled, but I don't know. I feel bad a little bit because
Why?
because
Look, me and Candace
has
asking the same. Like, why? Why do you feel bad?
hustling put us in a position to where I don't know. I just believe in hustling. You know what I mean? Like, but I know that everybody. It's not for everybody. It totally is not. I swear. I'm gonna do a whole show about the ups and downs of hustling because sometimes it sucks like hell, and sometimes you're poor as hell, and sometimes you're not. You know what I
Ma,
mean?
but
So
you know that we both do agree with the premise of hustling, But you know,
But
my question
you think that the culture would be better
without it.
if okay.
Yes, yes, because I
So
feel like that's why I asked that follow-up question, do the pros outweigh the cons? Because I know that all three of us do recognize that we all benefit and have benefited from the pros of hustling. And we do believe in our own hustle because we believe in our own potential. And that's a product, that's a byproduct of hustle culture, is believing in yourself. So we can take the positives from hustle culture and we can manipulate them for our benefit. But when I ask that question, I think because of me and Candace's interpretation of that, we feel like as an overall narrative of hustle culture, do we feel like life would be better for, you know, society with or without hustle culture? And that's where we come to the ending of,
okay.
we think that it's more harmful than it is, you know, beneficial.
Okay. Okay, I would have to agree. I'll have to kind of be kind of leaning towards you guys' side because they've got these bet kings and all of these betting things to try to
Yeah,
make people make
DraftKings,
money and get,
lose money
you know what
right
I mean?
now.
So yes, so I kind of agree that through the mental stress and through the corporate, I hate to use the word, but the corporate rape of
Oh, I
Americans,
mean,
you know
yeah,
what I
the
mean?
predation is
Um,
bad.
yeah, I think that with those two things, and then feeling less than
Camera.
if you don't hustle enough, I would have to agree with you guys that it would be. And isn't that something how I shifted? I think that it would be better. And I'm not shifting
You're
because I
right.
feel like no,
Come
but I kind of
join
agree
me.
because if you think about all of the negatives, the only positive there is that there's success stories from it. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah.
But the negatives is that people are feeling burnt out, depressed, you know, suicidal, just
Hmm.
homicidal. You know what I mean? So absolutely, I agree with you guys that
Hmm.
it's probably
I have
worse.
something
Yeah.
to add
Well,
on that.
Candy, we were gonna go straight to you so you can give your
I
opinion
don't
and
want to
any
start
follow up.
nothing, but
Well, no, like
yeah,
just follow
but
up and give your final
um,
thoughts and everything. You know.
so when you said that about the success story, like, is it really success? Because think about, I'm not laughing at the outcome, but I'm thinking about like how the success stories, how they're still traumatized, they're depressed, they're not happy, they're not satisfied. They're taking themselves out the game,
Yeah.
even though they have a success story. So like, is it really, it goes back to the whole facade, snake oil thing.
Yep.
That
And
part.
also figuring out what works for you,
Hmm.
because when you try to chase somebody else's dreams, you end up getting lost and you're like, what the heck happened?
Yep.
So
Everybody's
I
money
guess
ain't your money.
Yep.
exactly. But you know what's crazy? But you can get lost chasing your own dreams.
Hmm.
But I
She
guess
said hello.
my final thought, my final thought would be, yes, I definitely see the pros and culture. Like, then I think the negative side for me is the stress, etc. And I think I liked what both of you said about really focusing on like changing your perception and just being grateful and being happy where you are. So Daquan, when you said that, and I was like, always hear that, enjoy the journey, and I'm just like, you kidding me right now?
Yeah, yeah. It's hard
Like,
out here. Like I'm
it's,
hungry right
I
now.
know, like what?
I'm
And so,
hungry. I'm hungry.
he said I'm hungry.
That's
I
what
know.
it
So
is.
it's like it's kind of like insulting at this. Like, I'm okay. I'm supposed to be happy, but
Hmm.
I'm broke and I can't pay my bills. Like, what are you talking about?
Damn.
I think
Yeah. Well,
like,
I can sound like an asshole. Yeah.
yeah. So it's like that to me, because we're not getting rid of hustle culture. To me, that is the work of how to combat it, like you were saying earlier, Tasha. So I think it just ends up being like a lot of internal reflection, figuring out who you are, and then changing your environment, right? Because hustle culture is we get it from our environment.
Hmm.
So talking to people who like you guys, like we're you're on the same page, so you don't feel that pressure as much
Yeah.
because you're around people who understand that you don't have to work yourself to death and you are okay where you are.
I don't know what to
And if
ask,
you
honestly,
you can
since I
have
really
a
haven't worked
goal,
like you with other
but if
ladies.
it takes you
Well,
10
I
steps
mean,
to get
even if you
there,
have
that's
questions
fine.
about just what it
Even
means
if it took
to
them
work a
5, if
40-hour
it
work week
takes
or
you
anything like that,
10,
like
it is
it
okay.
maybe
And
it
I
can
think
be
that's such
overwhelming
a
because this is a
I think
broad
that's such a
topic and there are
difficult
a lot of
concept
things
to
that fall
grasp,
into it, you
because
know.
we
So
we
even
we
if you can't
speak,
think of
we
questions now
believe
and
in
you think of
ourselves, like
questions later
Daquan was
on,
saying,
you know,
like
like I
we
said,
know what we
feel
can
free
do
to
and we
ask them
want to think
because
that we can do such great
it's
things.
a very deep
But when
topic
we
and there's
don't
a
get there, it's
lot
like a
to
constant
it.
disappointment.
So
So
from your
it's a
perspective,
lot
I'm
of
sure
like
that there's tons of questions that
mental,
you can have,
strength going
and it
on,
can
and
probably
then
be a
your
little overwhelming because
environment.
you may
But
not know what to even ask. Like,
ultimately,
man,
I
like where do
think
we even
when we
begin?
talk
You
about hustle
know?
culture, I do believe in working hard for what you want and having goals, because I think that ultimately keeps us alive. And even when we do go through crap and maybe we have hustled, like at the end of it, there is some pride in that. And it's like, okay, you know what? I'm tough. Like I've been through that. Like I've been to the bottom, I've been to the top, I've been to the middle, like, like, and I'm still here. I've survived, I've made it. So it kind of gives you a little more resilience too. Like I think Tasha, you were talking like some grit. Like, okay, if I gotta go back to ramen noodles, I've been here before, and I can work I can work back up. So I think that is also a good side of it, but ultimately just no pressure, no stress, like
Yeah.
just focus on
You
you,
don't care
be
where you're at.
happy, like be as grateful as you can be, because tomorrow is not promised and this moment could be the only moment that you have. And
Yeah.
so it's best to just be happy with it.
Yeah.
And I say that knowing
Eh,
full well that I don't practice that all the
yeah. I do, and I'll touch on one last thing. I know I'm sorry. But yeah,
You never made your final point.
well,
time. Yeah.
I completely agree with what you're saying because I feel like I do understand like that feeling of feeling almost insulted when people tell you to be happy with where you are and like just but like that was because, in my early adulthood, like in my early 20s, I was just so critical of myself and ashamed of where I was and what I hadn't achieved that I didn't look at the things that I had achieved. So it was hard for me to be like happy with myself because I'm like, I haven't done enough. I haven't done anything because I have so many
Mm,
things I have left to do and only a
great
few
point.
things that I have done. So that's
Great
why
point.
I'm not happy. So when you tell me to be happy, I'm mad at you because I'm like, how the hell am I supposed to be happy? You don't know what else I have to do in order to
Great
get
point.
my goals. So I
Great point.
completely get where you're coming from when you say that because
Great point.
I've been there and I had to once again, you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. I changed my perspective and it
Say it
changed
again.
everything. When you change the way
Say
you
it
look at things, the things you look at change. So I changed my perspective on the things I did, on the things I accomplished in my life, and I was like, you know what? I have worked hard and I have done a lot, and
Yes.
I'm very proud of myself for the things that I have done, and I'm proud of myself for not giving up on the things that I want to do. So I stopped
Yes.
being so hard on myself, but still. And the weird thing about it is when I stopped being so hard on myself, it actually gave me
It became
instead of
easier.
and not only that, but it instead of turning the goals that I had into a pressure of I have to do this, it became not only do I want to do this, but I'm more determined to do it. And it was a
Hmm.
interesting, just change of perspective. But there was also another thing that you touched on where it was like, I think there is a huge difference, and it is internally just all the way tied into hustle culture, where there's a difference between working hard for the things that you want versus working hard for the things that you need. And I think
Mm.
Ooh.
that that's where we're at right now.
Mm.
Wow.
We're at a place where we are working hard to get the things that we need to
We
survive
want. Oh, need.
instead
Okay.
of working hard for the things that we want in our future and things that aren't
Yeah.
necessarily like,
Yeah.
you
That's
know,
deep. There's a difference.
huge, and it's like we don't need these things, we don't have to have these things, but we want them, they're goals, I want that new car, but now we're in
Yes.
a
So
position where
working
we're
from
working
another
hard
prompt.
just to get
Yes.
a car you know
Yes.
so
Damn.
I think that
Hmm.
that's why
It
once
is a
again
different type of
I
life.
think
It
it's
is.
just a different type of thing, and that's why it ties back once again to where the whole
Mm.
centralized idea of hustle culture I feel like is harmful because you know we tell people you have to work hard for everything, and I do not agree with that. I feel like if you are
Everything.
working, you should be able to afford to provide for yourself and your loved ones, you know,
Mhm.
because you're doing what we have decided is in our social construct. You have to participate in society. You have to contribute and
Contribute.
work and give and play your role. And when you're doing that, your reward is to be able to live here and afford the things that you need. But we took
I
that and
like
we
that.
said, now,
Yes.
oh no, none of that. In order just to live here, this is the things that you working hard for, is just to live here. And matter of
Price
fact,
went up.
it's a privilege. You better be thankful
And then
that
you
we allowing
can't-
you to
and
live
then you
here.
can't-
You know what I mean?
And
Like,
then you can't do it until you're 65,
Yeah.
68, 70. Then they're like, okay, you're done.
yeah,
Then
go
they
enjoy
write
your
you
life.
off. You
Yeah,
done at that
yeah,
point.
yeah. You'll be lucky to live that long.
Like, now I'm
We
on
done worked you to the
AARP.
bone.
Yep.
And now we're gonna throw you
And
away.
we've
We
used
gonna
you
throw
for
you
every
away.
bit that you're worth. Yeah. So
Yep.
I think that's just like, as far as it is for me, like the entirety of hustle culture is, it's more harm than it's worth. It's not worth what
Yeah.
we have
Yeah,
done to
absolutely.
each other
I would agree.
with it. And I do think that if we're going to keep having hustle culture, we're gonna have to turn it into where we tell each other and tell people who are going through things that we're going through, that hustle culture doesn't have to mean to you what it means to society, and that you can be a hustler, but it doesn't mean that you have to go and break your back for this person to be able to buy that Jaguar and put yourself in debt. It can just mean that you can go and work at this job and work hard on your dreams in the meantime and afford to live and be a hustler in the things that bring you joy. I'm a hustler when it comes to fishing. I will get out there because it brings me joy. I'm a hustler when it comes to dancing. I'm going to find a way. I'm a hustler when it comes to going to the gym. I'm going to find a way. I work out with one dumbbell at home.
Yeah.
So it's, you have to tell people, you have to be there to tell people that hustle culture doesn't have to mean what we've been told that it means. And yeah, so that's my final thoughts, and I'm gonna leave it off with that.